Very, very, like way back.
Yeah, well, I'm in Manhattan.
Beautiful.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Jim.
Hello, Jim. Hello, Pitch.
I don't know how to go. The sound.
Good evening.
Hey, somebody.
Hey, Simaris.
Ebenezer, can you please promote Wendy? It doesn't allow me to do so.
Can y'all hear me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is everyone so quiet? This is our first meeting back. Thought you guys be more energetic today.
Hi, everybody.
There you
I have
go.
all of the energy in the world. at this time.
Hola,
Let's
hola,
do this.
todos.
There you
Hello,
go.
hello, hello.
Yes.
Evening. All right now.
Yes.
Where's the music?
Yeah. Yeah. Why you acting
Yeah, we
like-
should have music, right? Music.
Yeah.
I'm mourning the end of summer.
I apologize. I have a newborn and he takes up all my energy.
Ha ha ha. Just designate DJ Wayne. You put the music on.
That That is my
when
younger
shy,
brother's
don't be
job.
shy.
That
Is
is
it?
my younger brother's job.
Where does he play?
Whatever I told him.
Whatever he's hired. Oh boy.
That explains a
Marilyn De
lot,
La
Len.
Cruz.
Actually, that doesn't explain a lot. But on occasion, I will say, "Don't play that. Don't play that."
He's gotta flow with the times. Even reggaeton he has to play, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, no, there's a joke that goes with that is not appropriate for a recorded meeting.
All right then. Keep it amongst ourselves. Okay, Catherine, just before we start, like to, do we even have quorum, Catherine?
Yes, just give me 2 seconds. I'm wrapping up counting. Does Jim count towards quorum?
No. Yes. No. Yes.
Of course I do.
He
I'm a
does.
member of this board. I'm
I
just
gotta,
not,
you
I'm
know,
just not a member of the executive committee. So you can't blame me for what they do.
8, 10.
You're good.
That's why the parliamentarian and the chair get paid twice as much as everyone else.
Absolutely.
Catherine.
24. Oh, Mary's here. 25. And one more. Let's see.
Well, Eleazar, we had a very efficient executive committee meeting, so you've got to beat Catherine's record.
I don't know that I can do that.
Oh yeah, no, it was truly excellent.
Yeah, I think we're gonna
Thank you.
try, and I think in my mind it was a powerful thought of what Angel said a few meetings ago, in which he actually begged and claimed for our time, for the respect of our time, and the fact that we're taking a voluntary assignment like this, and then we don't stick to at least to the rigorous factor of time consuming. So we're gonna adhere to that the best we can. So Catherine, are we good to go?
Yes, we do
So,
have quorum.
Before I'm gonna, what is it, 6:38, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. And before we put a motion for the adoption of the agenda, I'd like to take a quick minute and say, first, I'll frame it with giving a special thanks to Ozzy Kaminer, who in just about any situation was there. She was still is an excellent board member, and an even better secretary. We should all acknowledge what Ozzy did, even from Israel at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 a.m. That's pretty much unheard of. And it shows the kind of commitment that she was willing and still willing to put in for this board and the betterment of our community. I think it's commendable. I don't think any of us can second that unless someone else can prove otherwise. So I want to say that from the deepest part of my heart. Thank you, Ozzy. And we have another situation, which is that our assistant secretary has not responded to any of my emails or text for the past couple of days or so. Today, I even tried about an hour before, and I reached out to both our vice chairs, and it was a little bit of a short time, but it was an emergency. So I'd like to thank Kathy for stepping up and understand Tanya's position that it was a little bit of a short notice, but it was an emergency. So Catherine and now Nobles was gonna kind of like step in and help us with the minutes and so forth. So we're gonna make this happen. And anyone else that wants to step up, raise your hand and let's just do this together. There's no other way of making this happen and making it a smooth meeting. And having said that, I'd like to put a motion on the floor to adopt September's 2021 agenda. Sorry.
Second.
Any objections? Any abstentions? Motion passes. I'd like to do the same for June 2021 minutes. I'd like to put on motion on the floor to adopt June 2021 minutes.
I actually have a correction.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
So, and there are two corrections and they're minor. In the land use committee discussion, where it says any historically designated building is required to file with LPC when doing, it should say any building located within a historic district is required to file.
You want that to be noted in the minutes, I'm assuming.
Right. It's a minor correction. And also in the discussion where it's talking about the fourth resolution is related to COT on West. I don't really know what that means. And maybe the sentence can just be revised to say the fourth resolution is related to a building related to 600 West 165th Street, a building that's installing a ramp, and take out the 2 COT on, because I have no idea what that means.
Okay, so I think we're gonna have to go back to our minutes, make that note, make that small correction, and sort of like define exactly what that acronym is, so that it is clear as to what exactly it means.
Well, my point is just as a simple correction, if we eliminate it, then I think the sentence is fine.
Also, you feel it's best to eliminate it altogether?
Yeah, because it relates to 600 West, which is installing the ramp, so that.
All right, 600 West. Got it.
Can you do
All
me
right.
a favor, Wayne, and send me the language that you want to amend? Just email it to me and I'll include it in the minutes in the way that you want it done.
Sure.
And Catherine, can you do me a favor? And I know you took a look at if we have quorum, but can you just mark down the present and excused absent and absent for me and shoot over to me? And I'll put it in after.
Yeah, I just shared a spreadsheet for you, so I'll text you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mark
Yeah.
Curtis, who had a death in his family, and anyone else who's observing a Jewish holiday, such as I think Liz is one of those people, even though I haven't heard it from her herself. Okay, so going back to adopting June's 2021 minutes, we get a motion on the floor.
Adopt as modified, yes.
As modified. Great. Any objections? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Due to the long Isidro's resolutions, making it too hard on us. But before we get to that, I'd like to welcome all 6 new members. This is their first general meeting, hoping that they've had a great experience in all of the subcommittees that they've been assigned. I'd like to say that as part of my chair's report, that we'll have the same opportunity to speak. So guys, don't be shy, voice your opinion. Marty, I loved what you did with the 181st Street bus lanes, the 2 tickets you got. Your fault though, but thank you for being proactive and getting involved. I think that's the kind of attitude that we need. And this meeting is just basically just that. We just traffic information and it flows different ways. Ideas flow different way at the end. We have differences, but don't be shy to express your opinions. To finalize my report so that we can speed up this meeting, I'd like to point out 3 things that had happened during the summer that I believe are the most important ones. Is today's groundbreaking event for the Eliza's library. It was tremendous, well put together, and even though it was raining, a lot of people came and showed up and showed a lot of love. I think it's going to be a great project. And the other 2 events that I believe were as important was the call to action on the Inwood Park right after the violent incident that happened there with the woman that was had almost raped, if you will, in the Quisqueya Park in Amsterdam between 181st and 180th, who also had issues with a lot of fighting and a lot of situations that led to a lot of families staying away. I'd like to thank the parks of Manhattan Borough Manhattan Parks Commissioner Castro, who has been extremely active for the past month or so in our parks, making sure that they have the tender love and care that they need, and that they have presence, that they have public safety, that they're clean, So I think that we have to give him the credit of saying thank you, Commissioner, and I hope you keep it up. And having said that, I'd like to pass the baton to Ebenezer Smith, our district manager, with his report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Always is a pleasure being here as your district manager. Welcome back from the summer. Very quick report because we have a very long agenda. Office operation. You may know the mayor opens the offices and reopen, the city and mandate that we city workers work from the office. Everybody have to report and everybody have to show proof of vaccination or have a weekly COVID negative test. So saying that, our office is being open. However, because we have these virtual meetings, the schedule for the staff vary. The day that we have meeting like today, the staff gonna be teleworking from home. The day we have any committee meetings, Paola and Chanel gonna be working from home. And the reason is because you cannot start a meeting at 6 o'clock in the afternoon and you don't know at what time the meeting gonna finish that evening, and then you need to go home, et cetera, et cetera. So because of that reason, the days we have meetings, the staff gonna be teleworking from home. We are allowed to do that. And the days that we don't have meeting, we gonna be working from the office like we did yesterday. We are in a transitionary time. You remember the end of August, at beginning of September, the meeting was supposed to be in person, and we plan to have a kind of hybrid meetings, but then it was a situation there that the quorum need to be in person, et cetera, et cetera. So thank God that on September 1st, the governor passed an extension, or not the governor, I'm sorry, the legislature passed a law allowing a change to the open meeting law, the suspension of certain requirements, allowing to have valid virtual meetings. And because of that, our meetings went back to virtual. And it will be like that until January 15th, Saturday, January 15th. We have been working with the district, with the Borough, at the Borough Service Cabinet. We have a long discussion last Friday, try to figure out what's going to happen after January 15 if the open meeting law suspension is not reacted. So we're discussing that. We need to have the way, find a way, how we're going to be doing it if the meeting are required to be in person, because the quorum for the meeting have to be in person if the suspension or a change to the law allowing hybrid meetings is not adopted. So with that said, I would like, my next topic is, I have been busy the last few weeks with complaint regarding abandoned outdoor dining structures. Received several complaints, several restaurants, they built the structure for outdoor dining, but the restaurant went out of business, and this structure being used by homeless and to sleep there, by people shooting, using drugs and shooting drugs there as well. We tried to resolve the matter, but this situation is not only exclusive to Community Board 12, is citywide. Or every district manager in Manhattan is complaining about it. Budget materials. Last week on Thursday, we finished the budget consultation with the city agencies. We gather all the materials, all the summary, all the notes for the budget consultation for each agency. We will be sending it to every community board member in Community Board 12 this week or the beginning of the following week. This is a very important material for you to use it when your committee meet to vote for the budget for fiscal year 2023. Finally, committee chairs, the calendar. The October 2021 calendar is being sent with the corrections and the stipulation that we have at the last executive committee meetings. Please review it, committee chairs, please review it to make sure that your committee is on the date that is supposed to be. And on the back of the calendar, make sure that the agenda reflect what your committee wants to have in October. Some committee did not submit any agenda item. Nevertheless, we placed there the discussion of the budget for fiscal year 23. Please, if you haven't sent me your agenda item for October, send that as soon as possible, because this calendar is going out by Thursday. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. God bless you all. This is the end of my report.
The floor is open for any questions that you guys may have before we move on.
So,
Maria Luna?
Who do I address the complaints about the many buildings within our community board that have those scaffolds that are not being used at all, and they are permanently there for years and years? They are a nuisance to the community. They are being used by people sleeping on them, homeless people, people eating and doing all, kind of stuff. Who is the department that we need to send the
Department of Buildings. Department of Buildings. This is a problem also citywide. Many community boards, district manager has been complaining last week when we had the meeting with the Department of Buildings. And with the problem is that the permit has been extended even time after the construction passed. It's some kind of a street liability for the constructions and the contractors, and they use that by law to prevent any fall and a street liability accident.
So
please let me know.
To them or through our offices?
You can give me the complaint. I'm more than happy to follow up with the Department of Buildings.
Thank you so much, Ebenezer. That's great.
Thank you, Maria. I think Wayne is first and then Sally.
yes, Ebenezer, actually, I sent you an email on this earlier today. I noticed that the post office on West 158th Street between Broadway and Amsterdam, which was open yesterday, but there's a sign on the roll down gate today saying it's closed until October 4th. Does the community board office have any information on why it's closed until next week?
This is the first time I hear about it. I can follow up with the postal services and let you know what the reason is closed.
Right, but just for reference, I did send an email to you and Lori Tobias several hours ago.
Okay, I'm gonna follow up on that one. Sarah Fisher?
Yes, I just wanted to confirm that regardless of whether or not the community board members have to be together physically, when you're looking ahead, you are planning on retaining a Zoom option for the community, right? So we can engage people remotely who can't come to our meetings?
Yes, this is part of the plan because it's a local law that passed a few years ago that community boards are required to live stream our meetings. And as you may recall, a few years ago, we made a huge investment in our office to have this camera and this equipment to do the live streaming. And yes, we will find a way to maintain the live stream via, we have a Zoom account, we can keep it, but maybe it's another way that we're gonna live streaming the meetings via YouTube and Facebook.
Okay, I just wanna make sure, Ebenezer, that there's a chance for the public to ask questions and to participate in the meeting, not just to watch it.
Yeah, by law, that has to be the case.
Okay, great.
Is there any other question? Hearing none, thank you very much. God bless you all. Take it away, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, we're gonna go down now to the elected officials report. I understand that Mr. Robert Jackson is with us today. Catherine? Right, so.
Yeah, so we have a few folks, but yeah, Robert's here and he's first.
Well, thank you.
Hi, everyone. Hey, how are you?
Good evening. Good to see everyone. I wish we were all in person, but seeing all of your faces and your pictures on Zoom is very, very important in the process. So I'm just going to go through real quick. Let me just talk about upcoming events. This November, there will be 5 referendums on the ballot. for all of us to vote on. And one of them, in which I sponsored in the Senate, is that every resident in New York State is entitled to clean air and clean water. You may make the assumption that we have that. We don't have it. And in fact, there's nothing in the Constitution that guarantees that. And so that was unanimously, that was passed in the state Senate and the Assembly twice. And so as a result of twice being one session before, and this current session is going to the ballot on November 2nd. I will send Community Board 12 the 5 resolutions. It would be good if we had an explanation on that, and so that we can send that out to everyone so everyone understands what these resolutions are. So that's one thing. And so we have a mega pop-up clinic in Inwood coming up with the Rent Relief Program and Excluded Workers Fund in partnership with Palante Harlem and NEMIC, Northern Manhattan Improvement Corp, and the Underdocumented Women's Fund and the New York Law School, and that's going to be on October 13th. Our Chief of Staff, Joanna Garcia, and staff will be sending that information to CB12 so that you can spread the word on that. Governor Hochul finalized the appointments on the Cannabis Control Board. Many of you may know that. We have a forum on cannabis for business and job opportunities in our community, which is scheduled for October 25th. This will be both in person and virtual, and more details will be forwarded to CB12 on that. And we're working on a special project with barbershops and vaccines outreach with a community partner. And if successful, we may extend it to bodega programs. The most important thing, in my opinion, in our opinion, is that people have to protect themselves against the virus out there, and getting vaccines is the way to do it. And I know that there's some people who disagree, but the majority of people agree with that, and I do too. So I'm trying to move forward to try to protect as many of the people that we represent, so that if in fact they come down with COVID-19, as you heard from listening to experts in the field, is that those that have had vaccines, when they have contracted COVID-19, it's been very mild compared to what we've seen before. And I'm currently working on pushing legislation on remote learning that I'm co-sponsoring with my colleague John Liu. My office has had a complaint form for parents and educators and students to share their concerns with me online and on my website. And I believe strongly that parents and students need the option of remote learning in order to stay safe. We cannot risk the lives of anyone in this day and age. I guess some good news. Just yesterday, my office presented commendation awards to women that were lifting us up through the pandemic, which included several individuals in CB12, Maria Lozado, Sally Fisher, Tanya Bonner, Jackie Rowe Adams, along with some other individuals. They received an award, and I congratulated them on behalf of all of our communities. Thank them for the job that they're doing to keep us safe, to keep us healthier, to provide us with food, to provide us with services that we need as far as legal services, domestic violence services, and all of the things that we need to stay healthy. Today, as you know, is National Voter Registration Day, and we partnered this afternoon with Wheels, which is located at IS 143, to register students 17 and 18 in order to vote in the upcoming election. There are 3 upcoming paper shredding events that my office is going to have. The first one will be this Saturday on the Upper West Side with Assemblymember Danny O'Donnell and Councilmember Rosenthal. And stay tuned for the dates for one in Inwood and one in Marble Hill. Many of you know that my district goes from Marble Hill all the way down to 26th Street and 9th Avenue. So it's a pretty long and gerrymandered district. And we hope that when redistricting occurs this year, that will bring my district closer together so that it will not be spread at least 13 miles across Manhattan, going only into the river and coming out again, and going into the river and coming out again. That's not the way a district should be. So I just want to stop there, because I know that you're going to have a very long meeting, and I want to listen to what people have to say overall. I appreciate the opportunity to come in front of you You should know that I'm heading back to Albany on Thursday. There is a joint committee talking about foundation aid, the money that we received, which was $4.2 billion over the next 3 years, in order to make sure our children get a good quality education. And that was in the foundation aid came out of the lawsuit that Community School District 6 filed on behalf of the children, not only of our district, but the entire state of New York. And after 13 years of litigation, we won. But the bottom line is that the state under our former governor did not adhere to the lawsuit. But the two leaders in the legislature, Andrew Stewart-Cousins and Carl Heastie, put it forward, and it passed both the legislature, and the governor signed it into law. So $4.3 billion for the children of New York State. So we appreciate that. And with that, I'll stop and listen.
You're not leaving us just yet. So hang on. You have Wayne and Maria Luna both that like to address or ask you questions. So
okay, thank you.
1 minute questions. I think
so
Binary is always doing.
Great. So good evening, Robert. You mentioned that under, I guess, New York State's Constitution, we are not entitled to, I guess, clean air and clean water. What is covered by the Clean Air Act, or the Clean Air and Clean Water Act was like passed, it's got to be more than a dozen years ago. What's covered in that? And, and how does that relate to what you're proposing now?
Well, the proposal, the law has already was passed by the governor. And in fact, the Attorney General the job of the Attorney General is to put the language into I guess, wording so that everyone can understand it. But there's been lawsuits that were filed in upstate New York against industries that were polluting the water. I'm just talking about recently, and they actually won a lawsuit of $65 million, where the company has to monitor their health. Just like, for example, I am considered a survivor of 9/11. Not that I was down there cleaning up, but I worked in the cloud with a 1.5 mile radius of the World Trade Center. And so I filed just recently as a survivor. That's what they consider me when you work down there or you live down there, survivor, even though I have no conditions, but I'm just trying to protect myself just in case if I get ill. So I don't know what the difference of that bill that you're going back, but I will find out for you and get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Maria, Tanya, and then Maria Ali.
All right, I'm on, right. I'm sorry. Thank you, Robert, for your report. I was going to congratulate you for having Nimic and also Palante, who is doing such a fantastic job in our community, helping out, especially now with the project, the programs about excluding the people who lost money, even if they didn't have a job during the pandemic. So that's it. And also on my usual way, but I'm asking the chair, maybe on the new business at the end of the meeting, I will have to share some sad news also. So I don't want to do it this early on the agenda. So please,
okay, Maria.
Later on. Thank you.
No problem. Will do. Tanya Bonner.
Yes, I just wanted to thank Senator Jackson again for that beautiful event yesterday and honoring women in our community, a very diverse group of women who are doing so much. As everyone knows, this is hard work. Sometimes, most of the time, very thankless. And I really, just from the bottom of my heart, really appreciate that, recognition of that and helping to elevate us so that we can continue to be out there and do this work. It's really important that we have the support of our elected officials. And so I just really wanted to say I appreciate everything that you did for us yesterday. And it was just a wonderful, beautiful event. And thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. I mean, thank you for your leadership in trying to keep our community safe and an appropriate place for all of us to live.
Thank you. Mariel?
Yes, yes. Thank you, Senator Jackson, for your report. Just wanted to say thank you and commend you and your office for your leadership on the legislation regarding the clean air and clean water. I mean, as we think about, we're about 30 days or so outside of leading up to the Conference of State Parties in Glasgow, focusing on climate change. And so it's incredibly important that we're not just thinking about climate change on the international level, but also things happening right here in our own community. And I know you've obviously been quite a leader on that, so thank you. And just wanted to say if there's anything that we can do as a community board to kind of, spearhead or mobilize around those issues, particularly around environmental justice, please do let us know. Thanks again.
Well, thank you. I mean, obviously, the League of Conservation Voters, I think they put out recently a list of all of the legislations that were pending and who voted for what. And I'm happy to read in their report that I am 100% on all of the bills regarding put out by the members of the state legislature regarding that the League of Conservation Voters felt it was very important. And I can only thank the team members that worked with me, my legislative people, my community people, my chief of staff and deputy chief of staff. I thank them because we're a team working together, and that's the most important thing. We're a team with Community Board 12. We're a team with other elected public officials. We have to work together for our community, and that's what this is about. Thank you.
I think it's Sally, right? Is that you? Did you raise your hand, Sally?
Yes, on a different, I like the environmental stuff, but I won't repeat what Marielle said. What I will thank you for is your leadership on the remote learning. It's a huge issue in our community because of overcrowded schools, the fact that we have higher numbers of essential workers, the fact that our vaccination rates are lower. You know all that. And I guess I would put it out there that the community board should be working in partnership with you to make sure that A, we support your legislation at the state level, and B, that we hear the concerns from our community and address them by passing something similar to what the CEC has passed in terms of demanding remote options. So I hope that we can have those kinds of conversations. So far, the community board has been silent on remote learning, which I'm embarrassed about. So anyway, look forward to working together on these issues.
Thank you, Sally, and thank you for your leadership, and continue to push us to making sure that from an environmental point of view, that we, when I say not only we are collectively doing the right thing in Community Board 12. Thank you for your leadership.
Sorry, I was animated. Thank you, Robert. It's always nice seeing you. We need more of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Sally.
I want to listen, and I'm going to be in the entire meeting. I want to listen to what's being said since we haven't had a meeting since June. Thank you.
Yes, enjoy it.
Thank you.
All righty. I'd like to have, I think Marielle was the first one that from Marielle De La Cruz. Okay, Marielle, next. Marielle, you there?
Me?
Oh, Marielle?
Me?
Okay, you're up next.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I have an issue with my speakers right now.
No problem.
Let me put on the camera. Hi, everyone. My name is Marilyn De La Cruz. I am the Upper Manhattan representative for the New York City Comptroller Scott Stringer. I'm happy to be here today as this is my home community board as well. So I am listening to all of the issues that people are presenting, and I don't even need that much time, Melissa, today.
No, it's okay.
Today. But just wanted to mention that we did, or we do have a back to school guide. We have a one-pager in about 7 or 8 different languages. And then on the website, we have a kind of condensed list of resources that people may have when it comes to going back to school. And I know the time has passed and hopefully everyone's issues should be resolved by now, but wanted to make sure that you all knew that we do have that resource there to provide. Also, our office does do constituent services. And if folks have questions about claims, that is where it comes to our office as well. There is no chat, but I know that most of you all do have my contact information. I can share my email as M De La Cruz. So it's not my whole last name, is mdelacr@comptroller.nyc.gov. So yeah, thank you so much for having me here today. I should be here till about the end of the meeting. If it doesn't go too late, I'll be here the whole meeting. But thank you so much. And if there's any issues or concerns, please let me know. And if there are community meetings, even though my boss is not a local elected official, we try to be as on the ground as much as possible. So please feel free to also include me in those. But have a wonderful evening. Thank you for having me here. And I look forward to seeing you all on the street, like I've seen a few of you already.
Okay, thank you once again. Thank you so much for everything you do for us. Thank you. From the office of Assemblyman Al Taylor's, Mina White, and I hope I said the name right. Mina Obina. Just correct me if I said anything.
Hi, yes. Hi, it's Mina.
Mina, all right.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I know you're normally used to hearing from Erica Rodriguez, the Chief of Staff, but I'm here in her stead. So just a report on what was done previously. So on August 26th, the Assembly member had a back to school event in collaboration with Catholic Charities, a number of organizations and agencies who tabled. So we were able to provide book bags and school supplies in those book bags, as well as, Friends of Harlem Public Schools. They were a huge contributor in assisting and making sure we had book bags and school kits for students. And that was held on West 160th Street between Amsterdam and Broadway. In addition, our office just continues to help with emergency rental assistance applications. So if anyone, is having issues with, doing those applications, we are here to assist and do it alongside them. And I can provide my information. So as we know, it is online only. So for those who don't have computer access, we are here to assist. In addition, just an update in addition to what Senator Jackson just gave. As you know, in the beginning of the month, there was additional funding provided by the state given to ERAP. So an additional $300 million to the program overall to assist with payments made to landlords, in addition to an overall $250 million that will be given to a separate program solely for landlords, particularly small landlords. So for those landlords that are experiencing, tenant unwillingness to complete the application, or, it just didn't happen, landlords can apply, or just a loss of money from a previous tenant, they can apply. But this will be a separate application. This will come out, we are expecting in mid-October. Okay, almost done here. And then our future event, and I'm sorry, but Ebenezer, I don't know if you got the email, but we will be having an event on October 20th at Hebrew Tabernacle. So it is, of course, our annual free flu vaccine event, and that will happen on Wednesday, again, October 20th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Ebenezer, did you get that email? If not, I can send it right over, and then it can be circulated.
I will look for that. It doesn't hurt that you resend it again.
Okay, I'll resend it, and that's the end of my report. And then also just for information for ERAP and any other general issues. So my email is white, WHYTE, M is Mary @nyassembly.gov. And if it's a phone call that you need to reach me, you can reach me at 929-260-0484. And thank you for having me. I'll be here through the entirety of the meeting.
Thank you, Mina. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate that. And we'll make sure that your flyer gets distributed as soon as possible, as many times as possible. Thank you.
Yes.
From the office of, thanks. From the office of the Congressman Adriano Espada, in absence of our dear friend Lori, Debbie Nabavian is gonna act on her behalf and on his behalf to make the office report. Debbie.
Thank you, Eli. As many of you know from following the news this week, Congress is in session the full week. They were back yesterday. The big story being around Build Back Better, otherwise known as the Reconciliation Bill, and infrastructure and jobs. And really not a lot more one can say about that because this has just been, as you know, negotiated. The congressman, along with much of the New York City delegation, wrote to President Biden and the U.S. Attorney General Garland, urging federal action with respect to the terrible situation at Rikers Island. This month, the congressman voted for H.R. 3755, Women's Health Protection Act, which would enshrine into law the protections of Roe v. Wade. As is always the case, every year, the congressman voted against the annual National Defense Authorization Act. In this moment, not because he's not fully in support of many of the things that our military budget obviously provides, but because of what he perceives as the even bigger priorities we have in other areas with respect to the military budget. In the district offices, we continue to see cases related to the various assistance programs that were related to COVID. So whether that's, we continue to see remaining unemployment cases, and at this point, God knows, we probably processed 1,000 of those since the beginning of the pandemic, but people are still very much in need. Same thing with the small business assistance programs. Continue to see a lot of casework with respect to that because there are still small businesses that haven't been able to access the quote emergency loans and are still trying. And some things related to the impact payments, which were known as the stimulus payments, the child tax credit, which is which is advancing to people now. Lots of things related to the IRS and passport agencies. Those are two massive agencies that are, that have had significant backlog. And then just before my time is out, I want to highlight two upcoming events, both with a sort of nexus to our youth activities. If anybody knows an 11th or 12th grader that's aspiring to the military service academies, most of them do require congressional nomination. There will be a New York Delegation Service Academy night on October 4th, this coming Monday in the late afternoon, or actually around 6 p.m. So we'll be distributing information on that. And last and very least, if you know any student coders, right now is still the Congressional App Challenge. We'd love to get some entries of an app that any student or team of 4 students might have developed. So again, anybody that has any interest in any of that and a connection to maybe some youth organizations, hit me up because I'd love to get you the information.
Thank you, Debbie. Big shoes to fill. Not to say that Lori is great at what she does. So thank you. Thank you very much. Catherine, public session, do we have any addition of names or?
Wait, is Natalie going to speak for?
Oh, she's there? She's back?
Yes.
Okay, great. I didn't see her. My apologies. So Natalie?
I am trying to find out if Madame Borough President has an ETA. So if you will indulge, I'm sure she would prefer to address you herself.
As usual. No problem.
We appreciate your flexibility.
Thank you, Catherine. So we're gonna move on to public session. If you wanna.
So the first, I don't have the ability to mute or unmute folks tonight. So the first person is David Friend, followed by Molly Faith, and I hope it's Faith. And that's 2 minutes each.
Hi, can you hear me? Yeah, great.
Yes.
Yes, my name's David Friend, and I signed up to speak today about the application for a wine liquor license for Buddha Corp, which is at the corner of 193rd Street and St. Nicholas Avenue. I'm a resident of the Mitchell Lama building that's directly across the street from the corner where that bar seeks to open. And I'm encouraging CB12 to vote against this application. The issue with this establishment is that it's a very large establishment and they've installed completely retractable doors. They've asked for both DJ and live music and to stay open until very late at night, 7 days a week. So the issue here isn't the type of alcohol that they're serving. The issue is that they are clearly want to operate on less of a restaurant model and more of a nightlife model. This corner has a long history of crime and drug issues. The 34th precinct is opposed to this application, and it's a stone throw away both from a huge educational complex and also directly across the street from my building, which is overwhelmingly senior citizens. It's a naturally occurring retirement community, and there are a lot of people who will be extremely disrupted by the noise that will come from this venue, having music with completely open storefront, multiple days a week. There are a lot of elderly people. They need their sleep. They need a peaceful environment to live in. And this is just not an appropriate place for this kind of establishment. I encourage you, for the health of our community and also the safety, considering that almost 10 people have been shot at nightclubs within a mile of this location just in the last week. We do not need this in our community. Please vote against it. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much. Catherine, who's next?
Molly Faith.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Hello, my name is Molly Felth, and I'm a member of the community. I wanted to express support for the resolution passed by Community Board 12 on May 25th regarding the Fort Washington Ave Armory. At the heart of this matter, to me, is our responsibility as adults to reduce barriers to recreation, sports, after-school activities to kids who actually live in the neighborhoods surrounding the Armory in Washington Heights and Inwood, especially. I've been following the issue, and I think your investigation could give us some needed answers about the proper utilization, accessibility of the space. So I would just want the board to consider, as per the resolution, to let the community know what the next steps might be taken, when the investigation might start, when the licenses will be made public, etc. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Catherine, next.
Yep. Next, it's Gary, followed by Christina.
I think. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Got it. Hi, Gary. Gary?
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. People often ask me why I became an activist and how I got so involved in social justice, equity, and Community Board 12. Sadly, about a year ago, a member of our GDS family died by suicide, and it was very rough on me and everyone who knew this incredible young man. Maury was brilliant and empathic. He was a camper at Camp Excel that eventually became a volunteer and then a staff member. His sudden and unexpected death highlighted the importance of free mental health services in our community and the need for youth and young adults to have a safe haven to go to. Maury needed support, and unfortunately, GDS's community space was not there. We were wrongfully evicted from our space at the Armory after being there since 2002. For the new members, I am Dr. Gary Altheim, clinical psychologist and founder executive director of Growth and Development Services. GDS was founded nearly 25 years ago, and our community advocacy program was created in 2011 to ensure the continuation, utilization, and creation of most needed educational, therapeutic, and recreational services. I began advocating at CB12 10 years ago. 2011 was the first of 3 occasions when the Armory Foundation wrongfully tried to evict our mental health, youth development, intergenerational programs. Our community advocacy program has a fan page at advocacy4 heights, and has much of the background information on GDS's wrongful eviction from the Armory by the Armory Foundation and DHS. The resolution to investigate the Armory is a sea change moment for CB12. The community should be very grateful to the 17 members who had the moral courage to speak truth to power, to choose people over profit. I would like to give special acknowledgement to Aisha Ogilvy, who for many years was speaking up on these issues and she never gave up. This resolution would not exist if it was not for her. Being a community board member is a huge responsibility. It takes a lot of time and energy. I hope all of you review the resolution, hold all accountable during your investigation, and eventually open access to what the building was meant to be, a community center for all of us. Reclaim the Armory. Take it back.
Thanks, Gary. Thank you. Nice hearing from you. Catherine?
Yes, all right, sorry. So we have Christina Alfonso, and then followed by Stephanie Rivera.
Did you add the 2 ones that I sent you? All right,
Yes,
good.
I got them.
Christina?
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Christina Alfonso. I have a couple of announcements to make from the Met Cloisters. First is a special exhibition that opened last month at the Cloisters, and it will run through January 30th. The title of the exhibition is Spain, 1000 to 1200, Art at the Frontiers of Faith. It presents a group of artworks that speak to the diversity of Spanish medieval art during a period when communities of Christians, Muslims, and Jews lived side by side and took inspiration from each other. The introductory gallery text is bilingual, and there are Spanish language labels available on the museum's website. I'm also happy to announce that this Saturday, October 2nd, at the Metropolitan Museum of Art on 5th Avenue and 82nd Street, the museum will hold its first block party called Met Fest from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. The festival includes live music, performances, and activities for families, both outdoors, in the galleries, and online. All of the activities that are outdoors, which is mostly the performances, are free to the public, and museum admission, as you know, is pay what you wish for New York residents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome, Stephanie.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Stephanie Rivera, and I am a youth growth and development service intern. I'm a youth advocate. I'm just here to talk about how GDS is like very important, especially mental health services for youth, and not only youth, but also older people. They deserve to have a service program where they can get mental health provided to them. So I'm just here to share that we're gonna have an event on November 8th. It's going to be an event to raise awareness, the importance of GDS, our 25th anniversary. And we would like people to join us and to kind of be able to communicate with each other and socialize. If you're interested in coming and joining with us, you can check our website at www.xlgds.org, or you can email llopez@xlgds.org, or you could just email me, Steph Rivera, at xlgds.org. And yeah, and we're looking for a space because right now we don't have a space in GDS. So if there's anyone that knows a space, we would love to work with you guys somewhere near Washington Heights or Harlem. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Okay. I see, I can't find Eileen King. I know she had tech issues, so I know David was with her, so if anything, she can enter her comments on the Q&A and all the board members can see it. So our next speaker is Mariori Rubio, who will be speaking in Spanish. So if Ellie or can translate, I appreciate that. So Mariori Rubio, followed by Ingrid Rendero.
Hola, buenas noches.
Hi, how are you?
Bien, gracias. Realmente pido hablar en español porque si no los 2 minutos no me dan tiempo para pensar en inglés. Agradezco realmente la oportunidad de estar en esta reunión, primera reunión en la que participo. Estoy realmente nueva en el vecindario, lo que va de año apenas. Y me gustaría solamente participar porque creo que es importante escuchar puntos de vista tanto de los vecinos, de los que estamos recién llegando, y a lo mejor contrarrestar un poco y también las opiniones de mucha gente que tiene mucho tiempo viviendo ya en la zona.
Okay.
Yo en lo
So,
personal
all right.
digo...
Okay, so let me translate because it's a lot.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So Marjorie Rubio is she welcomes the invitation to participate in this meeting. She's a new resident and she's here to hear and listen and pay attention to the different ideas, and a lot of what people have to say is extremely important to her so she can form an educated opinion on what this community is all about. Go ahead, Marjorie.
Ok, yo estoy viviendo actualmente por la 193 y me doy cuenta, hace poquito escuché la intervención de un señor que creo que van a abrir un local en toda la esquina de donde yo resido, y creo que la pandemia le ha dado muy duro a todo el personal, no solamente empresarios, no solamente los vecinos, sino también mucha gente que trabaja en restaurantes. Yo suelo trabajar en Bajo Manhattan, y efectivamente la gente que trabaja en los locales comerciales se vio muy afectado de la misma manera que un dueño de negocio. Entonces,
so she's here to speak on behalf of a specific business that's located in 190th and St. Nick that is being really, really affected by the pandemic. And she's also here speaking on behalf of every other small business that we should promote that is also going through the same economic issues as the business that she's referring to in 190th and St. Nick. My guess is that El Caridad. Go ahead, Marjorie.
Ok, creo que es muy importante apoyarnos como comunidad entre simplemente empresarios, entre los vecinos, entre la gente que vive cerca, porque cada uno tiene familia, tanto unos como otros. Entonces considero simplemente que podemos trabajar de la mano para que cada quien se levante de donde le tocó llegar. ¿Okay? Estamos en una ciudad realmente muy dura, es una ciudad que nos ha pegado a todos por igual, obviamente unos más que a otros, pero todos tenemos gente en nuestros hogares que nos está esperando. Todos tenemos gente por qué levantar una ciudad, y somos Nueva York, somos Manhattan, somos Washington High, y si no nos unimos, esto no se va a levantar solo. No es una sola persona la que está en una casa, somos muchos. Y de esos empleos dependemos muchísimo. Es solamente mi intervención de hoy. Feliz noche y gracias.
Okay, thank you. She wishes everyone good night, and she offers a message of hope, wishing that everyone can pull together and work as one so that we can come out of this, one of the most remembered times in our lifetimes, which is the pandemic. So she wishes us to continue the hard work and to continue to work together and pull together. That was, then she said, good night. So thank you, Marjorie, for your words. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so next up we have Ingrid Rendero from our local CUNY, followed by, and I hope I don't put your name, Asia or Aja.
Hang on a second. I think Sally has her hands up, but you don't get to ask questions under public session, so we got to move on.
I just want to participate in the public session and I can't figure out
Oh,
my name.
all right. So
All right, I got you, Sally.
Thanks, Sally. All right, Ms. Renderos.
Thank you, Chairman Bueno. In essence of time, I say I have 2 minutes. I'll only say this in English. I can always say a little bit in Spanish. Está bien. I want to thank Chairman Bueno, Youth and Education Chair, Señora Fe Florimon, the community board members, and all the residents that are present for having me here tonight to introduce myself actually to the community. I am the new director for CUNY in the Heights. That's located on 5030 Broadway. That's between 213th Street and 214th Street. We are open and we are embracing the community. For me, this is very special. I am from Washington Heights. I grew up right off 184th Street. And I believe Si Se Puede and about access to education. Here tonight, really briefly, Chairman Bueno, I also wanted to just thank the community board personally for helping CUNY in the Heights and just BMCC to really expand what we're going to be offering the community in Wood, Washington Heights and surrounding communities. And I especially wanted to, just thank you because we had the town board, the town hall meeting on June 14th. So as a result of those meetings, us together in CUNY in the Heights and all the team, we're setting up a different programming to help. And I am going to be the ambassador for CUNY in the Heights. I am available for speaking presentations in English and Español. Puedo presentar everything that CUNY in the Heights is offering. What came out of actually the town hall meetings is 4 key areas that we're going to be focusing on to offer the community now. It will be continuing education, credit bearing, programming, community programming, and definitely student support. We have training. Please contact me. My number is 212-776-6605, and I am at IREN as in Nancy, D as in door, EROS as in Sam at bmcc.cuny.edu, offering credit and non-credit bearing programming for the community. And we're here.
Thank you, Ms. Renderos. Looking forward to meet you in person. Thank you for respecting the time. And I know it's very limited, but at least I got to, we all had an opportunity to get to know you, at least.
We're open and thank you. I wanted to just present myself to the community. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Catherine, who's next?
We have Asia.
Asia Badi from the New York Independent. Thank you. So my name is Asia Badi. I'm the Director of Public Engagement for the New York State Independent Redistricting Commission. Everything I'm telling you is on our website at nyirc.gov. So I will speak quickly. You may ask, what is the Independent Redistricting Commission? Because you've never heard of it. This is the first time the commission has come together. We are a result of a ballot amendment in 2014 to create a fair and independent process in which we could draw district lines for state Senate, state Assembly, and Congress. We have 10 commissioners, 4 appointed by the Democratic legislature, 4 by the Republican legislature. The 4 Democrats appoint an independent, and the 4 Republicans appoint an independent. The 10 commissioners have amazing experience and depth of knowledge around communities and engagement, and they are, all their information is on our website. And they're tasked with the option of having draft maps on September 15th, which we did, draft plans, and then doing 12 public hearings across the state, where we are holding the hearings are mandated by the state legislature. So we will be having one in New York, in Manhattan, Bronx, Queens, Richmond County, as well as upstate. We're starting in Buffalo. We're going to start up north so that we can get further down south when there's a risk of the snowstorm. So, and then we will give final plans on the beginning of January to the legislature. The commissioners felt that they couldn't even start with the draft plans unless we heard from the community. So we held a listening tour in the summer. The videos of the listening tour, which we did across the state, are available on our YouTube site, as well as all the public submissions. We had over 500 people sign up to speak. 300 actually spoke, or close to 300 actually spoke. Over 500 people submitted over 1,200 pages of maps and written comments. Those are all under our submissions tab. And if you create an account on our website, you'll get updates from us, but you can also sign up to submit a map, submit comments around the district maps, see the draft plans, and sign up to give testimony. So I'm here to ask you all to let your friends, your neighborhood association, your communities that you are a part of know that there are draft district plans available. They can see them, and we'd like to hear. If you like them, we want to hear. If you don't like them, we want to hear from you, and just to help get the word out. Thank you.
Thank you, Asha. Thank you for your patience. I know you got to run somewhere.
Yeah, we are trying to get as many places as possible, so I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
So you'll be hearing from us. I know that there's a lot of people interested in.
I'm glad. I'm really glad. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions or anything.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Catherine.
Yes, so we have Eileen King next, followed by Angel T.
All right.
Yes. Hello. Can you hear me now? This is Eileen King speaking. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes,
Eileen, we can hear you.
Appreciate that. First, I'm board president of Inwood Tower, the Mitchell-Lama Co-op that is directly across the street from Buddha. And we've been working with the community board since a year to protect our neighborhood from what would be increased traffic, increased noise, increased motorcycles. Buddha Bar has now asked for a restaurant wine license, but this license is still based on live music, DJs, jukebox, and it has retractable doors, meaning if those doors are open, the whole front of the building on St. Nicholas Avenue would mean we would be suffering with all that noise. What are we doing? We're asking that the unbearable, unlivable noise that we experience here not get worse. Putting an open, this restaurant, even with the wine and beer license, it would mean that you are drawing more traffic, more cars, more double parking. The bus stop would be interrupted. So once again, and the 34th precinct has said, no, this is not a good business to have in the area. They cannot keep up with what's going on in this area. And I've also talked to SLA, and they've said that wine licenses are subject to the same criteria as any other license. So I'm asking you on behalf of the community, the people that are suffering in my building and in the neighborhood from excessive noise, not to make this situation even more, and to turn down their request for a wine and beer license. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eileen. Catherine?
Angel T.
And then I think you have to add Sally to that list.
Yeah, I have Sally to close us out.
Okay,
Hello.
Angel T.
Hi, yes, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hello, hi. Yes, my name is Angel. I lived in the community for over 20 years. I own restaurants. I'm a friend of Guillermo Gonzalez, the licensee. This license was presented to the community board back in 2019. We came before the community board. Mind you, this was live. This was live that we came in. We presented the license. The community board gave a stipulation. The community board gave Guillermo Gonzalez stipulation, closing at 2 a.m. I believe it was closing at 2 a.m. and put a good neighbor sign. Now, based on that recommendation that the community board gave Mr. Guillermo Gonzalez, he put his life investment into this location. He proceeded into investing the money in completing the location. Now, why didn't he get the license? Because of COVID hit, all these things happened, financial problems for him, so he couldn't complete the project. Now, the second time when he come before the community board, he finds all this opposition. But what happens in this case? He already invested his money. He invested his money based on the prior approval of the full board of the community board. To give a little bit background of the story, Mr. Guillermo Gonzalez, he's a perfect candidate. He's a law enforcement. He's a retired, he's a Army veteran. He's an Army veteran, and he took all his money and he invested into this location based on the prior approval of this community board. Now, Miss Eileen, the person that spoke before, Mr. Guillermo Gonzalez, myself, and we had a Zoom meeting in which we reached out to the building and we spoke to them. And I believe some kind of agreement was made. Now, they want to make, they talk about the doors. It's only about 15 feet of these doors that open. In a prior meeting, he was willing to keep the door closed or just open it until 8. We met with the precinct, and the precinct stays neutral in the recommendation. So we have done everything possible to accommodate the community board. We now only ask for wine and beer license opening to 11:30 at night.
Thank you. Thank you, Angel. Thank you for your advocacy. Catherine?
Sally to close it.
Sally, and then call it a day from the public session. Sally?
Okay, I'll be quick. First, just want to wish everyone a happy Hispanic Heritage Month, and to mention an event that will be honoring that, which is going to be held by a group called Flavor Fusion Fest at the Hudson Restaurant this Friday from 9 to 5. They are attempting to break the Guinness World Record for the biggest serving ever created of mongoose. We are involved in that as Friends of Inwood Hill Park because we've arranged everything from to make it sustainable. So composting the 2,400 pounds of estimated organic waste, recycling all the recyclables, delivering meals to community fridges, etc. So we hope that people will show up, and I will send a flyer to Ebenezer so he can blast it out to the community. Second, we have a bunch of daffodils that need planted. So if anyone is interested in joining that effort, those are from New Yorkers for Parks. Get in touch with Friends of Inwood Hill Park at friendsofinwoodhill@gmail.com. And we are also on Facebook and Instagram. And then I want to speak very quickly on behalf of Uptown Dreamers, our students. And this is to call on Community Board 12 to address, as Robert has, the very real need for a remote option for our students. We can't wait. We know that we have overcrowded classrooms. We know that we have poorly ventilated schools. We know that we are higher at risk than any other community in Manhattan for COVID spread, and we're dealing with a substantially weakened testing and quarantining system for schools. So we need that now. Our president, Gail Brewer, has been advocating for a remote option since school began, and we hope that Community Board 12 can also address this, perhaps holding, I would suggest holding a town hall that parents can come and address their concerns. Also, we're a little concerned about safety. I don't know if you heard, but there was a shooting near Muskota School at dismissal. So kids had to basically be funneled back into the school for lockdown. We need real solutions to the daily shootings in Inwood beyond a press conference. It's time for Community Board 12 to address the need for a 35th precinct, or at a minimum, a satellite office so that we have a police presence to respond to what has become a daily occurrence in our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thanks, Sally.
Just for reference, Eleazar, and particularly for the new board members, we should point out that Sally was not speaking during public session as a board member. She was speaking on behalf of other organizations, just so there's no confusion, because during public session, board members do not speak.
Yes, the two organizations, I'm sorry, I should have said that, are Friends of Inwood Hill Park and Uptown Dreamers.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Wayne. Always good to learn. So now that we've finished our probably the most interesting part of our meeting, which is the public session, which each and every one of us, our community residents, get to speak and get to promote their ideas, promote their organizations, and also, most important, we get to have the pulse of what's really happening out there in our streets and in the community itself. So we're gonna move on to the committee resolutions. Mr. Wayne Benjamin on a resolution that's very interesting that we spent a lot of time on the Borough's board, about 2.5 hours or 3 hours just discussing it. So just floor is yours, Wayne.
Thank you, Eleazar. I mean, I think the land use committee may have spent a couple hours discussing it, but the executive committee did not. And just for everyone's edification, the reason the executive committee voted on this is because the deadline for providing comments to the Department of City Planning was yesterday. So we have considered a number of zoning text amendments in 2021, and this is the last and I think the most recent one, and it would remove from the New York City zoning resolution all text that pertains to the location of sidewalk cafes. While the Department of City Planning does not play any role in the location of sidewalk cafes, zoning actually controls where they can and cannot be located. So as you all know, as a result of the pandemic, there was an emergency open restaurants program that's put in place that basically suspended all of the rules regarding this. And now the Department of City Planning and DOT propose a permanent program. And the first step in this is to eliminate from the zoning resolution any reference to any restrictions. From the Land Use Committee's perspective, we did not say we were against the permanent program, but the guidelines, the design guidelines that are supposed to be created have not yet been drafted. The rules and regulations for the permanent program have not yet been drafted. The challenges that were identified by City Planning and DOT to the emergency program, they've not yet identified how they propose to address those, and the emergency program runs through, I think, the beginning of next year. Our position was the Department of City Planning and Department of Transportation really need to do some more homework. They need to draft the rules and regulations that will apply to the new program. They need to draft the design guidelines. They need to put those out for public comment and respond to them, and maybe even pilot a demonstration project to see how it works before they take the step of changing the zoning resolution to remove all references to regulating the location without having any rules in place to, govern what happens next. So if you read the resolution, it doesn't say we're opposed to a permanent open restaurant program. It says that, we think it's premature and they need to, work on the rules, regulations, the design guidelines, and test them before they consider making those changes. Questions?
I think, and I'd like to chime in. Your point on the resolution of making it a pilot program really resonated with the rest of the community board chairs throughout Manhattan. So I think that was an extremely great idea, and that was included. It also made a lot of difference, made a lot of common sense too, since it's a new law per se.
Right, and I forgot to mention, when this zoning text amendment was first rolled out in mid to late June, I mentioned to city planning that I'm sure our small business or our business development committee would be interested in, learning about this. And, since the open restaurants, program would have both a sidewalk component and a roadway component that, are, TNT. So they've really not done even the homework with, our other committees, and I'm sure other committees around the city that go beyond just the land use aspect of it. What's the impact on small businesses, and what's the impact on, the public sidewalks and streets? So they really have a lot of homework that they really should do before, jumping to changing the law.
All right, Angel, ask a question for.
Sure. Sure. My question just is, did you ask why they're trying to pursue this so hastily? Like, what is the rationale behind moving so quickly as opposed to going through a more lengthy process that's more thought out?
Right. Well, actually, if you notice in our resolution, one of the points we made, this did seem a bit rushed, and quite frankly, there are only a few months left in the mayor's term, and it seems like there are all of these zoning text resolutions that he wants to get as part of his legacy. When the question was asked during the land use committee meeting, they pointed out that in June, the law had not been extended for the emergency program to run through, I guess, early 2022. So they felt that the time was compressed. But even absent that, the logic of you have an emergency project or program and everyone understands the rationale behind it, but making it permanent without thinking about it and without evaluating how the emergency program worked, makes no sense whether the mayor is going to be in office for only 3 months or not.
Great. Steve Simon?
I thought one of the cogent points made by the resolution was to point out how apparently they don't intend to entertain any further applications for enclosed sidewalk cafes. And I would think that those enclosed cafes would be particularly advantageous to restaurant owners since they would be available all year long and would be less intrusive and cause fewer problems for residents because they would contain the noise from people who might be eating outdoors. So I don't understand why they're putting a permanent cap on the enclosed sidewalk cafes.
And that is one of the points, Steve, that was raised when the materials were released in June. That's one of the reasons why I said they probably should speak to our business development, because at the end of the day, it should be a business decision whether or not someone wants to invest in an enclosed sidewalk cafe or not. Their rationale was they're seeing a decrease in applications for that, but just because there's a decrease in applications doesn't mean you should prohibit them moving forward. If there's a decrease in application, that means it's a self-selecting process. And for business owners who think it makes economic sense for them to do that, they will apply. And for those who don't think it makes economic sense, they won't apply. But why prohibit it?
Yeah, absolutely. Isidro?
Thank you, Chair. So Wayne, I'm not sure if I read anything on the resolution about perhaps including a caption about the time that perhaps a restaurant will have when it closes down, so that that space can be turned back to the community for parking purposes. Oftentimes, I've seen at least 3 or 4 restaurants that have closed down in our community, and those spots should have been turned back to the community. So perhaps can be something added on the language, or did you cover that already?
Well, I don't think it needs to be added, but your point is exactly it. They have not written the rules and regulations for the program, so why are they rushing? That should be included in what are the rules and regulations for the program.
Exactly. Yeah, it's an imperfect result. I mean, it's an imperfect move that they're trying to make it without having everything on
Maria?
really on the side. Is that you, Maria?
Yes, that was Maria physically raising her hand.
Unmute yourself, Maria.
Are you recommending that we vote that we do not support this thing, or are you saying that we should support it?
No. The resolution clearly says we do not support, making the text amendment at this time, and that we instead ask them to develop the rules and regulations that will be applicable, develop the design guidelines, and circulate those so that we can review and comment on them.
Exactly. Right. I think the sentiment is a no with conditions, basically. That's what the resolution is. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you very much for your wonderful input. And I'm moving along to Steve Simon's resolution of calling upon New York City.
Well, let me just briefly mention that at our committee meeting, we had a thorough presentation on the city's latest map on hurricane evacuation zones. And what we also had was our normal discussion with a number of local providers on the COVID-19 pandemic in our community, from Columbia University Irving Medical Center, New York Presbyterian Hospital, the Department of Mental Health and Mental Hygiene, Isabella Geriatric Center, and from a couple of people who were involved in significant grassroots efforts to try to increase the availability of vaccines in our community. And as an outgrowth of that discussion, we voted to offer a resolution to the board calling upon the city to open a full-time vaccination site in Washington Heights and Inwood. And we since we last met at the end of June, there have been 5,687 more cases of COVID-19 in our community, for a total of 24,070. 156 more people have died, for a total of 819 residents of Washington Heights and Inwood who have succumbed to COVID-19 during this pandemic. And the latest data published on the health department's website indicates that our 4 zip codes are suffering now from a substantial transmission rate in just the last 7 days, more than 82 cases per 100,000 people. Our vaccination rates lag behind all of Manhattan by 11 to 15%, and the city as a whole by 2 to 6%. We had 2 large vaccination sites previously in the community at the Fort Washington Armory and at Yeshiva University, and both have now been closed. So there's a great demand and more people that need to be reached, and there'll be a greater demand now that the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has authorized the so-called booster shots for people over 65, for people who are vulnerable because of underlying health problems, for the healthcare workers and others who are exposed to the virus due to their jobs. So our resolution, the resolve clause, is that Community Board 12 Manhattan calls upon the City of New York to open a full-time vaccination site in Washington Heights Inwood to prevent the continued spread of the virus in our community. And be it further resolved, the Community Board 12 Manhattan strongly recommends that this vaccination site have an annex or some other regular presence in Inwood. And let me just take this opportunity, if Ingrid Renderos is still on the call, the CUNY in the Heights hosted a vaccination day recently, and I would hope, I think that's a great location for Inwood, and I would hope that CUNY in the Heights could do that on a more consistent basis. So that's not specifically in the resolution, although the resolution does allude to the fact that there needs to be a regular presence in Inwood and not just the occasional vaccination bus as we appear to be relying upon now.
You have two questions, Steve. Domingo and then Wayne.
Hey, how's it going, Steve?
And Maria.
I'm interested in like maybe for your next meeting, how is this vaccination mandate going to impact the hospital as far as how many nurses and doctors they're going to lose due to the vaccination mandate?
Yeah, we did talk about that at our last meeting, but yeah, we're going to stay on top of that. It's at Columbia University itself, they've got something like a 95% compliance rate. Only 20 people out of 20,000 who were required to get the vaccine as of our last meeting failed to comply. I don't have comparable statistics for the hospital, but I will be asking for those. That's a very good point that you raised.
Yeah, before I move on to Wayne and Maria, I'd like to see if any of the newer members, the most recent members, are willing and able to come and say something, ask a question before I go to the usual suspects, as I call them.
Wait a second about that.
Any of you guys want to say anything?
I'm sorry, let me just correct myself. It's 12,000 people who were required by Columbia to get vaccinated, not 20,000. 12,000, and only 20 were out of compliance as of September the 9th.
All right, so we need to fix that. So Wayne?
Actually, I no longer have a question. I was looking for an updated agenda that included Steve's resume when I found it.
Great, thank you, Maria.
Oh, I think I agree with Steve Simon. And I would recommend that they don't use only the site of the where the CUNY and the Heights is. That building is located not too close to this to the subway, the 215. There are the buses going through. But I would recommend that they look into the lower part of Washington Heights, which I was, happy to register over 500 people for the vaccine. There are some open spaces, restaurants that used to be that they closed, but they can rent those places for especially. I'm sorry, the one where the 159th Street and Broadway, that locale is vacant. We can find better places close to transportation for especially the elderly that are going to be the ones online, first online to get those the vaccine and the booster, especially.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, let me just clarify. The CUNY in the Heights I saw as an annex, not as the main vaccination site serving all of Washington Heights and Inwood. But I assume that we'll probably have the site located in Washington Heights, but I want to make sure that people in Inwood get served as well. So I was thinking CUNY in the Heights as being an annex, really.
Well, I'm not talking about transportation, accessibility, transportation for people.
Oh, and Elisela.
All right, thank you. Hang on a second, because Barbara has not asked anything yet. So Barbara, you're up next, then Domingo, then Sally.
I'm up. Okay, I just wanted to reiterate or agree with Maria. Basically, I think it'd be much more important to locate a site more by the Dyckman and Broadway intersection, especially because that would hopefully pull more people over from the Dyckman houses. There are some empty storefronts across from the library. And also a couple empty storefronts just south of Dyckman Street. So I would really pursue that area for an annex site. The up by CUNY in the Heights, that's a trek. There's no transportation really, but the nexus of Dyckman and Broadway would be far, far more preferable, or something by the number 1 train at Dyckman would be far, far more preferable. The other thing is there's an ACNC. Columbia has an ambulatory care network center right there north of Broadway. And there's also that Renaissance place right there on the grounds of the Dyckman houses. Those would be, I think, better possible locations for an annex.
Thank you. Domingo?
Yes, Steve, I forgot the second part of my question, and thank you, Maria, for raising it. Do you feel that the decline in vaccinations also has to do with, initially Colombia had a community and partnered a lot with the local nonprofits to be able to encourage not only their membership, but the people they had access to get vaccinated? May that have something to do with it? That'd be an interesting question to pose to them as far as their partnerships, where they currently partnered with, and how's that going?
My problem right now is that I think the hospital, it's not Columbia per se, it's the hospital. The hospital didn't get off on the right foot in the beginning. They made adjustments. They started doing some really good work and connecting with dozens of different community groups. But now it seems to have, to some extent, ground to a halt. I wish that the Armory was still open. I would like to see it reopened. I think that that was a great location. I think they had a great operation going there. They managed to get people in and out of there very quickly and to inoculate an awful lot of people. I think that was a very successful operation, but it didn't stay. We still have too many people in this community who didn't get reached, and I think it closed prematurely. So if you ask me, and Gail Brewer heard me talk about this earlier today, I believe it should be reopened by the hospital.
Yeah, thank you. Simari Hernandez and then Debbie.
Thank you. So I'm a new member. I just wanted to make a personal opinion in regards to the vaccine mandate. I know I'm entirely in agreement with the push for vaccination. I believe it should still be a personal choice, and people should have the option to have weekly testing, as well as the mask mandate, etc. Not in agreement with the leave without pay for DOE and other departments. That's just what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Simari.
Well, this resolution doesn't really touch upon that issue. This resolution just wants to make sure that as many people as possible get vaccinated in Washington Heights and Inwood.
Okay, great. Debbie, and then we'll wrap up.
It's 1 minute. Okay.
Yes, for questions.
I would commend the resolution. I think it's sorely needed. I think people in particularly, we've heard from 10034 and 10040, really feel like they don't have access and something close by. I think this is really important. I would, however, say that we are the community board, and to me, the owner of the policy about vaccination resources is the starting point is New York City Test and Trace. It's not about a private institution at this point. They have done targeting at areas with, back when we were dealing with testing resources, they matched it to high need zip codes. And I think we need I'm presuming that this resolution is pointed towards New York City Test and Trace. And it's sort of, I think we're getting into the engineering of like the how, and what we're doing to me is asking the city's agency that's responsible for this effort and this objective to give us a resource. Like all this stuff of who's doing and what's whatever, it's like, to me, is sort of not the lead. We need to ask the city to focus here.
Yes, thank you.
That's what the resolution does.
Thank you. Gail, floor is yours. You want to?
Well, do you want to finish the discussion of that? I'm fine if you want to finish.
I think we're finished with the great discussions about Steve Simon's resolution. So floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I want to thank you, Chair Bueno, for your nice comments today at the ELIZA. It's a big deal to have all of that collaboration for affordable housing and the new library, and the very personal speeches from your to be council member and to the head of the library was quite unique and inspirational. So congratulations on many levels. I just want to pick up on this test and trace issue, because yes, today, thanks to Steve Simon and the doctors from Columbia, I think it was, or from Presbyterian, I think it was very clear that you need more support in Washington Heights, even without saying it directly. the institution said the same thing. So we need to work on that. It's not clear how it would happen, but we have to make it happen. But this testing, I mean, to get a test is not easy. We learned today that there's a lot of city sites and people are going to some of the private sites. I know it took me 5 hours the other day and I gave up. So, and children are going and waiting 4 and 5 hours when they are being told at school they have to get tested. So the whole test issue also has to be worked out if we're all going to survive this pandemic, which is definitely not going away. I also want to thank the community board because at the borough board, there was a lot of discussion about open restaurants. All the community boards were really, really extraordinary in the work they've done, including you. And the issue now is what's going to happen at the city planning. Our EULA response mirrors what the borough board did. So I want to thank you for all of that input. On the small business, I know that this has been discussed by Councilmember Rodriguez and everybody for the last 40 years. I worry that once there is, I don't know, post-COVID, some stores are back in place, new stores are in place, rent. So we have a storefront Bill of Rights, which Helen Rosenthal and I, with many others, have co-sponsored. And basically, you know, I hope it stands up to legal challenge. That's what we've always been trying to deal with. And what it basically says is if you have a lease, it has to be clear, has to be not something that is very opaque, and it has to have all the history of that space. If somebody comes along and says, as your owner, oh, sorry, I have a new tenant, they have to tell you who it is, and they have to show that there is an opportunity for discussion, and you have a certain time period before you have to move. If there's no tenant, you have a much longer time period. So I wanted to say, I hope there was a hearing on this bill along with another bill sponsored by Councilmember Steve Levin. I just want to make sure that there is discussion about rent and small business so it doesn't go away. I'm very concerned about the schools as you are. We had a school in East Harlem, not in your area, closed because of COVID. They're back today. I went to greet the students and their faculty today. In that case, they did have enough devices thanks to a very smart principal. But I don't know between, you know, do all schools have a nurse? Do all schools have a social worker? Do all schools have what they need in terms of, God forbid, there be some kind of a, you know, have to be home for remote, etc. And I know that you have a really good CEC and a good superintendent, but there aren't enough days in the week to be able to deal with what these schools really need. So I just say we're trying on every single level we can. Congestion pricing, I assume, is going to happen. The biggest fuss we've been making for the Mobility Review Board is to make sure there's a representative from the Borough of Manhattan, because I don't think others can know what people are going to go through, particularly south of 60th Street. So just so you know, we're making that very, very clear for this Traffic Mobility Review Board. And we want to make sure all the boards, I think, have been clear that that's our hope. I support it, but it is very controversial. It's going to be hard for people. I'm not going to say it's not. I want to mention, to say we want to continue working with the council member and the community board on an inward task force so that we know all the good things that are happening or any challenges. I want to congratulate you on the New York Times article, as I said earlier at the Eliza groundbreaking, because it basically said inward task force, inward in general, congratulations, because the affordable housing is being built, and that's a big deal. I know that our office meets every Tuesday at 3 o'clock, as we did today. Steve Simon was on. Everybody's welcome. You do get a lot of information about all the issues of the virus. Every day it's a new challenge, and also all the funding. Where is it going? Where is it coming from? Whether it's on climate change or if it's on you know, public safety, Rikers Island, or God, there's a lot of money going to the Department of Education. So you're welcome to join us, and we look forward to having you. And thank you very much, Community Board 12.
You're not leaving just yet. Have Aisha. Aisha?
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to say that I went to HHC on 168th Street to be tested recently, maybe about a week and a half ago now. Did an online registration, went there. It was a very quick process. hardly anybody was there. So I don't know if maybe people don't know about that site, but I was in and out in about 10 minutes. So I just wanted people to be aware of that.
Thank you. And Isidro?
Thank you, Chair. So, Madam Gail, Borough President's Office, thank you for your support for small businesses. It is also important to highlight that your bill will also have a translation of all New York City languages of all commercial businesses. That is crucial for small tenants, small mom and pops, because oftentimes they don't know what they're signing. I have had many instances where we have small tenants coming to our office because they don't know what's in the lease, and oftentimes it's very unfortunate. Very last minute, some of them would know that they will have less than 30 days to, vacate the premise. So that is a huge, huge improvement on how small mom and pop shops can survive with this new bill once passed. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you, Isidro. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Gail. And again, nice seeing you today. We had a blast. Okay, Isidro, you're up next, man. It's right there. So let's get it on.
Wow.
And one, I like to, for the newer members, I want to, Wayne, I would never beat you, but I want to sound a little bit like Wayne. For point of clarification, you guys, for the newer members, just pay close attention to the questions that are asked. Why? Because a lot of times we tend not to be paying attention, and then we repeat ourselves, and we repeat the same question once and twice and 3 times. So it's really important that you guys follow through the process. And if there's anything that you guys don't feel like you understand, stop. And we'll stop the meeting until we all walk this through together. We don't want anyone to be, to lag behind. So Isidro, floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Chair. I also wanted to thank Ebenezer and the staff members for putting together over 300 pages of background information, which I read back and forth on my weekend. Very thorough. Also very grateful to our new Vice President, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the appointment for Angel. Angel, you have been a godsend, and thank you for writing the minutes. I think I would have gone crazy if I had to do both our resolutions and minutes. So thank you so much. Also, I wanted to ask other committee members to chime in case I missed anything, or if you would like to add anything, please feel free and just jump in at any time during this presentation. I know that there have been some questions about some agenda items, so I'm going to try to see how we can best address some of these issues. But let me first clarify something. You are not going to vote on agenda item number 28, 31, 32, 34, 38, 39, and 40 because they have been withdrawn. So there are 7 agenda items that have been withdrawn. And also please note that on agenda item numbers 31, that resolution should be a withdrawn. So that's going to change to a withdrawal. So you're not going to vote on agenda item number 31. Also, a bit of a correction on the agenda. Please note that agenda item number 6 and 7 should be corrected to objection. So these are objections to agenda item number 6 and 7. So those are corrected, and I must thank Olsi for bringing that up. Also, thank you so much once again for your contribution. Some of the questions have been raised about agenda item number 37. I think has been addressed or highlighted in the minutes and the resolutions to the questions that were brought up. As it was stated by the owner, this applicant actually got an approval from both the committee and the general board. A resolution was passed in favor about 2 years ago. However, because of COVID, they had to come back and get once again to come back to the committee and the community board. Back then, it was approved for them to close at 2 o'clock in the morning. Back then, it was approved for them to have all these items that we as a committee tried to rectify and make sure that we come to some agreement with some of the community concerns. So I think it's important that when you check on this agenda item, as a committee, we try to make sure that we check all the concerns that have been brought up by questions that were previously raised during this session. So to rectify this problem, we ask for this applicant to put a good neighbor sign, to display a phone number of a manager in charge in case the residents or patrons will have any questions, that they can call someone right then and then and rectify the problem. Third, that they purchase a portable scanner and must bring proof of that purchase to the community board, which has been already exercised. Fourth, that they build a no double parking sign with a height of 3 feet times 2 foot wide. And that is to make sure that there is no double parking because, as it was stated earlier, there is a bus stop there. 5, that the security personnel patrol the area to make sure that there are no double parking and the patrons are not hanging out in the area. And also to provide the 34th precinct with a phone number in case of an emergency that they will call, the precinct can call someone right there 24/7 in case of any problems. Mostly important, and that is the retractable doors that has been raised as a concern. We requested as a stipulation that those doors be closed no later than 8 p.m. on a daily basis. The hours of operation has been diminished or decreased from 2 o'clock at night down to 11:30 at night. So it is a wine and beer license. Having to this place to open only until 11:30, I think would prevent some of the concerns that were raised earlier. And I think we have found a happy medium for this applicant. I toured the place on Friday to make sure that the concerns that were raised, that I will see with my own eyes. I didn't see any double parking issue. The noise that was coming was not emanating from the establishment. It was basically from people outside, just hanging out in that area. And that is a pervasive problem that we're facing in a lot of our establishments. It is a sad reality that, enforcement has taken place because it's not emanating from our restaurants. Having said that, I think that I covered some bases, but I'm going to leave it to the chair and Catherine to see that questions that are coming for them to be raised. So now I'll open up the floor for questions.
In that order, from what I see, is Barbara, Aisha, Ozzy, Mariel, and Angel, Tanya, Gabriela. So Barbara, you go first. 1 minute, please.
Well, first of all, in the resolution, it says the 34th has some issues. I remember quite clearly, and I do have the tape here, the 34th strongly opposed. And so I believe that the wording of the resolution should change to that the 34th has strongly opposed.
Thank you, Barbara. And on that note, I hope I do have someone from the establishment because the 34th precinct did conduct a walkthrough. And my understanding is that the precinct as of now is staying neutral on this application after the walkthrough. I think that Angel Tejada is on the line and he can rectify that for me and make sure that that is the case. But
Okay,
the 34 indicated that they will stay neutral on this establishment after having had a walkthrough of
okay. Oh, all right. Then the other issue I have is it says at the bottom that we support a full liquor license. I believe that we in our meetings thought wine and beer.
If it's a full liquor license, it's a typo on my part. It is a, you're right, I just see in the resolution, thank you, Barbara. It is a wine restaurant license, and that will be corrected. Thank you.
Is how the licensing, because I'm also new, is there a wine license separate from wine and beer?
Yes.
So we said wine only?
It's a restaurant wine, yes, correct.
Okay, so that has to be changed to restaurant wine.
Correct.
Okay. So do we make that a friendly
okay.
or a typo or what? Wait. That's very important. Don't cut me off.
Yeah, I'd like to know the answer to that too, please.
Yeah. Does that have to be a friendly amendment or is that just simply a typo?
It's not a friendly amendment because as a chair, I'm making the correction as we speak.
The correction, yeah, because that's clearly, we didn't vote that. We voted a wine. Exactly.
Yes, thank you so much, Barbara.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
All right,
Back-
thank you,
back
Barbara.
to you.
Sorry, I wasn't really hearing you out. Sorry about that. Aisha is next.
I just needed clarification. First of all, there's an application that various members of the community, David Friend was one of them, are contesting, and I think the applicant spoke on that. I just need to know what number that was, but also number 36, actually, I'm having a conversation with some other board members. Is number 36 withdrawn or not? And my understanding is that the application was submitted, but a portion of it, I just kind of want to understand what is the dynamic around number 36. Is it withdrawn? If it's not withdrawn, what is the issue in regards to that?
Agenda item number 36 was not withdrawn. It was
Okay.
voted on. Even though there was not a complete application, there were no copies of the menu, no the
Acá.
format as required.
Dame ese.
So it's a live vote.
So we are voting on it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Ozzy.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Number 23, Post Billiard Cafe. On the, I forgot if that's the resolution on the minutes, you guys indicated that there is a sound governor. However, the music is turned up as needed. So that means that actually, even if there is a sound governor, they are overridden. So I am asking my fellow board members to vote against that resolution. In terms of number 13, wasn't it something that was mentioned a number of years ago with that assault in a bathroom? I remember something in that venue. Can you give us some more information about that?
Agenda item 13.
Yes.
I believe that that's part of the minute. I think that they are in the minutes about some of the
Right.
issues.
The two women got assaulted in the bathroom, and I'm kind of a little surprised that the minutes doesn't reflect some more information about that, what's really happened.
No, Ozzy, the minutes, I wrote the minutes, and
I'm sorry,
it's very
let
detailed.
me finish my 1 minute here, and then you can answer that. Thank you. So I'm thinking, you know, if two women got assaulted, that should be taken seriously, even though there was a fight among themselves. And I kind of feel that, you know, we should not take it lightly because they're women. So, Angel, if you want to answer that, or Isidro.
Well, thank you, also. Now, obviously, Angel can also chime in. We didn't take this lightly. The idea was there was a fight inside between two females. They were not, the way the prison portrayed this issue, it was not a grave concern, but they brought it up. They bring up anything that happens inside a premise. They report the 311, the 911, and obviously this concern. But it was not a grave concern, but they had the obligation to bring it up. Angel, if you want to add anything.
Thanks, Michelle. Marielle Ali.
Thank you,
Actually,
Elisa.
Chair, I think that Angel had something to add and it's relevant to this.
No, it's okay. You've covered
Yeah,
it.
go ahead, Angel. And
One
then
second. Sorry, 1 second. We'll see. Just for clarification, the first resolution item that you were talking about, what was the number for that?
23.
On this 23 on sound governor. Thank you.
That's correct.
Thanks, Nobles. Okay, let's start all over again. Marielle Ali was next.
Angel, do you want to respond to OC?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Yes, I just wanted to say I'm a member of the licensing committee, and it's a lot of work to review these applications. Like, we had 40 applications. We're asking questions. We're reviewing these applications. I know there was, a couple of questions. I think Angel did a really good job with the minutes. Again, just kind of highlight Barbara's point about, I think it's number 37, Buddha Core. It is a typo because it's clearly reflected in the minutes that it's a restaurant wine that they're going for. Something else that I also wanted to bring to everyone's attention that was discussed in reference to that application is that we're asking the establishment to close those retractable doors by 8 p.m. And that's also reflected in the minutes as well. I know that was a concern of the community. So I just wanted to reflect that that's also something that we discussed. And again, as we kind of think about these things, just keep in mind that we also need to think about our small businesses as well as our residents. So it is a balance. It's a tricky balance, but we need to think about them as well. Thanks.
Thank you. Angel, do you have your hand up or?
Yeah, what I wanted to say is about Buddha Corp as well, and it's in relation to the last point Marielle made in terms of that fine balance between thinking about our small businesses and community members. I mean, at the end of the day, we did approve this license about 2 years ago. That resulted in the small business owner investing more dollars into the development of this business, and for us to stop that person from being able to open their establishment due to external factors that are outside of that person's control really makes you ponder the reason why you would do that. I'm sure it's not $100. I'm sure it's not $1,000. I don't know the exact amount that the individual invested in building out this business because we approved the license to begin with. And so I just I want people to keep that in mind as you think through on your vote. We demanded a lot of stipulations. It's an 11:30 closing time. Retractable doors, 8 p.m. need to be closed. It is only a restaurant Y license. They are not being able to provide liquor on premises.
Thank you, Angel. Thank you very much. Tanya.
Yes, Cedro, a couple of questions. One, I noticed so many applications again. And again, I know this job is difficult. A number of applications where people did not submit their documents. And so I'm wondering, is there a way that we could work better with businesses to ensure that they are meeting these deadlines and get the documents in? Because it's very unfortunate that people are having to wait to get their approvals, if that's what's going to happen, because they didn't submit documents. So that's my first question. The second is, an applicant for number 36 is saying they did submit these documents. I wanted to get some clarity on that. At what date did this person submit their documents? Were they submitted on time? They said they submitted everything that was required. Again, I'm asking because I want to know. I just need to clear this up. I don't like all the back and forth. So can we just get a little bit of answers for that?
And thank you, Tana. Thank you for the point. So,
Cesar, if you want to get closer to the mic, I think it's a little low.
So the board staff also make a great effort in making sure that the applicants get all the information, but also that the staff get all the information back that is required. On every single applicant that you see in the resolutions and the minutes, we did not receive the documents on time. And because of that, we had tried to be consistent in making sure that if all applicants don't bring out the proper documentations, that they're going to be usually or traditionally turned down. We make no exception on that because we want to be consistent and fair to everyone. But to answer your question outright, the documents were not submitted on time.
Thank you.
And just to add to that,
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, I'm sorry. I just had a point. Don't we get 2 minutes again?
No,
how do we end up with
1 minute questions? Yeah, because we have.
Oh, the questions are 1 minute. Are we saying the questions are 1 minute and every comments are 2 minutes?
You could,
okay,
whichever way, we just need to speed up the process here.
I know, but we can't, but we made a rule because in our bylaws, we have a certain amount of, and I'm not making things difficult. I'm saying we got to abide by our bylaws, and I'm not trying to drag anything out, but I'm just saying, like, we have to be consistent with our bylaws. If the bylaws say we get 2 minutes, we're not asking people to take the 2 minutes. If you don't have to, please don't. But what we're saying is if people need the 2 minutes to explain themselves, to do whatever they need to do, that should be given. That is in our bylaws. And so I noticed that we keep doing this and changing things on the fly and not going by what we said, what our bylaws say. And I'm just saying this, we do not have 1 minute. We have 2 minutes. And I do think this is an important point because if someone's alleging, oh, I got my documents in on time.
Is this part of your 2 minutes or you want?
This is part of my 2 minutes. Cedro,
okay, good. So go ahead.
Thank you, Cedro, first of all, for all of your answers and the consistency What I'm asking, and I voted with this consistency, but what I'm asking is that the applicant is saying that, showing emails that they sent documents in on time. If that's not true, great, it's not true, but I just wanted to clarify that because I don't want it being said that someone is saying that they're being treated unfairly. And I'm not saying that that is what's happening. I'm just saying the back and forth and the toxicity of that. How can we be, sure that you just clarify that a little bit? And again, apologies for going back to it, but I just need this to be just clarified.
So again, thank you.
So Isidro, hang on a second, because I don't want to have to, I can't violate the bylaws, but Gabriela was first. So you can want to hold on your thought on that answer. And we're going to go straight to Gabriela, who was the first in turn. Go ahead, Gabriela.
I wouldn't have a problem that Isidro addresses, then I go after.
Great. So Isidro?
So Tanya, going back to your point, again, it's unfair to the committee members, to me as the chair, to review over 300 pages of documents like 5 minutes before the meeting. If the documents were sent 5 minutes before the meeting, I'm not going to think that. We turned out different applicants on the same matter, on the same merit, and that's why we have been consistent. If the application comes in late, we will reject it consistently. So it's not a matter of, pointing out people out. It's just a matter of consistency for the committee members and the community board.
I have a point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Jim, go ahead.
I just checked in the bylaws and there's no reference to 2 minutes concerning anything. Now, the 2 minutes may have come from a resolution, that may well be, but it, Tanya's reference was that it was in the bylaws and it in fact is not. So I just wanted to mention that. Right.
Thank you.
Gabriela?
Gabriela?
But again, it may have been in a resolution we passed. All
right.
Thank you.
Point taken. Thanks, Gabriela.
Thank you. I just want to say again, thank you to the licensing committee. I know it's a very hard work that you do, and as a community member also I appreciate, and as I said before, I am not against business. I am a Dominican born and raised, so I live in Washington Heights, Inwood. I lived before living here. And I know that most of our business are so desperately in need to operate. But this particular business, talking about item 37, Borough Corp, unfortunately, it's not the place, for the area. I am very sorry of the, investment that they have done. An investment that obviously have been done as a nightclub, not as a restaurant. When my time is finished?
Yeah, take 10 seconds.
Okay,
Go,
so
wrap it up.
anyway, I oppose to that, and I encourage my colleagues to do the same.
All right, appreciate that. So I'm gonna now have Daniel Bonilla, who has not spoken as of yet, and then Nobles. And Robin, those who have not spoken will have a first shot at it. So Daniel Bonilla?
Well, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
I have a question for Isidro. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, this resolution for the Borough Corp one does pass. What happens if they continue let's say they start violating their agreements and all that stuff? What would happen to a place like that? Would they get their license stripped away? Would we have to review what's been happening? Would we have to be listening to the public? What happens in that process if let's say hypothetical we pass it and they start violating things?
So the stipulations are clearly stated on the resolutions, and the good thing is that this stipulation is going to be printed on the certificate, meaning that any merchant or any client, can come in, check about the stipulations, and if the stipulations have been violated, I'm sure they're going to complain. They're going to call us call the community board attention to this matter. So, when these complaints keep accumulating, the prison will also keep a tally of all the problems, and they report that to the community board. when the merchant comes back for renewal, and that will be taken into consideration as well.
Thanks. Nobles?
Cool. Hey, folks, just taking a break from taking the minutes here to number one, thank Angel Vasquez for taking the minutes for licensing. As a minute-to-minute person, I understand the struggle, and thank you, dude, so much. And to everyone on the licensing committee board, no easy task. And honestly, no matter any kind of challenge or admiration you guys get, like, we all so much respect you. So first and foremost is that. I just want to say that because Daniel actually asked my question, but there is something interesting that, Gabriella had said about, this, and Marielle actually had said about the small businesses in our area. Look, location is everything. And seeing all of these things, hearing what the consequences will be, you'll have to make your own decision on this. But please, do keep in mind the small business owners and their struggles. But, there are other things here that, will be to the new folks, your personal leanings here. This is a tough one. Thanks, Eleazar.
Okay, brother. Thanks. Robin Cruz.
Back to what Gabriela was saying. Gabriela says that there's no place for that particular merchant to be there. So there's no place in there in Washington Heights in Inwood for any restaurant and bar. So what are we gonna do with this small business that they paying a lot of rent to survive, especially in this moment that we're living right now? So why Gabriela? A lot of people here saying that there's no place. Come on, guys. Let's give it a chance. If it's something happened 2 years ago, that means that person not can be the same person anymore. You know what I mean? So I don't understand what's going on in here. That's it.
Okay, thanks, Robin.
I have a point of order. Point of order, please.
Jim?
Point of order. Point of order is a point of order.
What is your point of order?
My point of order is that we did pass a resolution regarding our time to speak. It doesn't matter if someone did not put it in the bylaws that have not been updated, despite requests for that to happen. We did agree that that's what it was supposed to be, and therefore that is what it is. What's the point of passing resolutions and saying we're going to do something if we're not going to follow it? If we're going to say it's just wasted, we just put it on paper. So I'm not following, I'm not understanding.
Okay, so
there's
Jim,
dismissal of what we actually voted on.
Jim,
if I can respond.
Respond so we can move on.
Thank you. I'm responding to the words you said, and the words you said were that it was in the bylaws, and all I pointed out is it wasn't in the bylaws. And furthermore, I also said at the same time that it may have been in a resolution. Now, we are going to ask our district manager to find this resolution. It may or may not have only, I don't remember the specifics, but it may not have been as general as your recollection is. So we will have this resolution before us next month, or maybe even at the executive committee, and then we will follow through. Okay, so I don't think there's a real disagreement. Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
So in the meanwhile, while we get that resolution, the next is Darryl. So let's move on.
Thank you. I just want to go back to something I believe Daniel had asked, just in terms about what we can do. And Cedro, you gave a long and thoughtful answer, and I appreciate that. But I think the real answer is nothing. We can't do anything. It'll take a very long time for any revocation of a liquor license. So, I mean, the immediate answer is nothing. And I just want to be honest about that.
And your point is well made, Darryl. It takes a while. But again, when you see a place that wants to close down at 11:30 at night, I don't think it poses any real concerns. And that's my personal opinion. It is a restaurant wine license. They're not going to have hard liquor. And based on what I saw on the premise, I doubt very much that will be a lounge. A lounge cannot survive until 11:30. Lounge life goes beyond way 3 o'clock at night. And, the process of the community board to vote against that particular establishment, it does take 2 years. for them to come back to the community board, and that would be rectified at the next licensing meeting. But even beyond that, the SLA can take out the license at any time. They can revoke the license at any time if there are enough problems. I think that will answer back, Daniel, your question. So the SLA can take out the license at any time that they feel that this patron is not executing what they promised.
All right, thank you. So I'm going to continue on with those who have not spoken. So I'm going to go with Francisco, then Aisha, then Barbara, Gabriela, and Sally. Francisco Lopez.
Hey guys, good evening, and happy Tuesday. This Buddha place is asking for a wine license?
Correct.
Okay, so what I'm trying to understand is, why are people saying, like, is it a nightclub that's being opened? Isidro?
No.
Based on what I told the premise, it would not be a nightclub. Again, a nightclub would not survive on selling wine alone.
Right. So this is a wine bar, pretty much.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, Aisha. Aisha?
Okay, so I want to understand, because I'm on some email threads in regards to the application number 36, which, by the way, part of the partnership of that is somebody that served on our board, respectively, in my opinion. I'm seeing in the emails that there were communications to the office by community members as well as from the applicant in regards to that application that have gone without response. I understand what Isidro is saying, that they got it, but it was before the meeting started and too soon. I'm not sure what the deadline is for that. But it seems like there's definitely some lapse in communication, and it seems like it's a technicality in regards to like some of the things that are missing. That's just my opinion. I am going to be supporting the application, but I'm interested to know, like, what are we doing about how things are tracked when people are communicating with the office, making sure that there's follow through with those things. I myself have experienced problems in regards to things getting to where they need to be in a timely fashion or at all. We have to address that.
And Aisha, it's a great point. The board staff does make a great effort in communicating with all the applicants when the documentations have to be submitted back. They do a great effort, and even though it's a challenge, it's something that they must be able to do, and they have done that. The issue about voting in favor or not of an applicant that has not brought up a questionnaire, that has not brought up a floor plan, we don't know the specifics of this license. We have to actually know what's going on within the license and ask the applicant specific questions. The opportunity was not given to us, and that's why we are voting as such.
Thanks. Leo Jimenez, then Michelle Lee.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Just going back to this particular license, 36 Buddha Bar. As a committee, we've received them a few times, and every time we ask something from them, they come back with improvement or with what we request. I don't think it's fair to hold the new business owner liable for any past incident of whatever businesses were there or whatever situation happened in the past. Like Francisco said, or someone mentioned, we have plenty of bars and restaurants that are good neighbors in our community. And Buddha has shown that they can be a good neighbor with adhering to a lot of the stipulations we have recommended. So I hope that you guys vote in favor and help out a new business owner, welcome them to the neighborhood, because I do think it could bring something positive, especially to the area that seems to be so problematic. They might be the solution.
Thanks, Leo. Joel Abreu. Joel Abreu.
Hi guys, how you doing? Good evening. I am just a comment on Buddha Bar. I don't know. I'm new. I'm a new member, so it's kind of hard for me to understand why noise would be the only roadblock for a business to open, especially when it takes a lot of investments, a lot of dedication for someone to open up, and motivation so for somebody to open up a business, and including to the fact, just listening in, this owner, this investor, his livelihood is at stake, right? And he is come across as someone who's willing to accept stipulations, accept time, 11:30, accept that he's closing doors at a certain time. I think it's definitely something that we should take a look at and approve for this business, or rather for this location. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Joel. Michelle Lee.
Hi, everyone, and hi, Isidro. Thank you to you and the licensing committee for all that you do. As a new member, I have a question about item 2 about the Uptown Garrison. The notes mentioned that the owner did not post a public notice. As a new member, I just wanted to ask if that is a requirement for approval, or if there's any way they can remediate that.
Thank you so much for your comment, and great point, by the way. This applicant has been a really great merchant to our community. They have done wonderful. However, the requirement from the community board is that they post the public sign. That is a requirement. It's also a requirement that they submit a complete questionnaire, and also if it's a new license, that they bring a menu, a floor plan, and also come to the board. This particular applicant, even though it's an outstanding merchant, we have to be consistent with our rules on how we govern ourselves in the committee. And because they did not post the public sign, and because they didn't bring a complete questionnaire, we had to actually object to the application, even though deep down I know establishment, I know the management, and I would have voted otherwise. But because of consistency, that's why we decided to reject this application.
Thank you. Catherine Diaz.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to raise, particularly for new folks, ultimately we all vote how we see fit, and it's a personal vote. And so I know that a lot of times different people will raise opinion, and I wanted to actually share my opinion, which I rarely ever do, on applicant number 37, particularly because it passed, but there were a lot of negative votes against it as well. And it's not the first time it actually came to the board, right? And at the time, I always voted against it because I know that block, right? It's a spicy block at night. I understand the area and never saw it as a venue that was fit. And I'm actually really surprised that it came back today, and the number of stipulations for it to even close at 11 o'clock, which is incredibly early, when other businesses in that area do close much later. And a lot of the noise that we know, particularly on 192nd, 193rd, 190, is after midnight. So I just wanted to kind of share that in my personal thought. Never mind. Go.
Thank you, Catherine. The next one up is Simari Hernandez, since she hasn't just spoke once, and then I'm going to move on to the people who've spoken the last, and then I'm going to end up with you, Sally.
Thank you, Chair Bueno. I just wanted to give my input as a new member to the licensing committee. I'm fully backing the Chair Isidro on the requirement for the application requirement of Friday before the committee meeting. So just for any new applicants in the upcoming month, our meeting will be October 13th, which is that Wednesday. So the deadline will be actually Friday, October 8th. I am in full agreement of the stipulation, just because we do need to be given sufficient time to review 300 pages or so, maybe less, hopefully next time, to make informed decisions moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Maria, you've spoken once, and then moving on to Gabriela.
Very short, very quickly. I want to know what the relationship of a liquor license and someone is being asked to supply a menu, a restaurant, it's either, a restaurant for, for food, not for liquor. But anyway, but why are we requiring someone to submit a menu when they only applying for a liquor license?
Thank you, Maria. And that is because we want to make sure that there is consistency in the SLA requirement where two licenses cannot be the same type of food. You cannot have the same food in the same area. You have to bring something positive or different to the community. And that's why the menu is requested, to make sure that it's not duplicated in the vicinity.
Okay, Ozzy?
Yeah, okay, I wanna, Isidro, maybe this is something you have to say every time we go through licensing resolutions. For new members specifically, but really everyone else, because not everyone remember that. Remember that the applicant can come back to us again and again and again and again and again, as long as the application they submit is slightly different than the one they submitted the month before. In addition, it's really in their hands to really submit a negative resolution to the SLA or not. It's not up to us. We are only required to give our opinion in 30 days. They can hold it and not go to the SLA, or go to the SLA. In the meantime, if they don't go to the SLA, they can come back to the community board again and try to improve the resolution in order to get a positive resolution. So it's not the end of the line. If they get a negative now, they can come back next month. Isidro, you should make a point of stressing that every month.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Barbara?
I wanted to go back to resolution 13, the Mexicano restaurant. In the minutes that were written up, I believe it's important to make a certain change because it really represents the stipulation that we had an extensive discussion with the owner about, and it concerns how the actual assault occurred. And it was, we have, whereas he closes at 4 a.m. and then we have where it says here, whereas the owner said the incident was an anomaly and would close at 3 a.m. and there'll be no need for security guards as recommended by the committee. That's not quite the way it went down. What we said was, and he agreed, it's not closed at 3 a.m. He closes at 4. We should change that to that. I wrote here, he will implement a clear last call at 3:15 a.m. with lights up, chairs on the table, and cleaning initiated, because that was the problem. And then also, we didn't say that we didn't feel that he had to have a security guards, because we kind of ran that around. I pushed the idea, and then I said, no, I guess not. And we agreed he didn't need the security guards.
Barbara, thank you.
What?
Changes accepted, Barbara. Thank you so much.
All right. Appreciate that.
Okay, so I'll work with Angel to get that done.
Yes, that's a friendly amendment.
Angel and I will do that.
Gabriela,
Okay.
Gabriela.
Thank you very much for giving me the second chance. Two things. Robin Cruz, I'm not talking about the whole Washington Heights and the whole Inwood. I'm talking about 1654 San Nicolas Avenue, which happens to be across from where I live, 11 Fort George Hill. And Joel Abreu, welcome. We need new energy. And just let me tell you that my opposition is beyond noise. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Members, let's try and address the resolutions themselves so that we can move forward and get the best information that we possibly can. Aisha, Daryl, and then I'm gonna end up with Sally.
I just wanted to quickly say, in regards to the applicants can just come back and apply next month. I do understand that we have rules and that people need to adhere to them. However, let's keep in mind that rent is extremely high for commercial enterprises in our community. So what seems to us as, hey, just come back next month, is a whole month of rent that could be as much as $40,000, $60,000, depending on where the location is. So I just wanted to put that on the record.
Thank you, Aisha. Great point. Daryl, then Sally, and then we'll wrap up.
Another quick question about number 37. Is there going to be like full-time security at this place, or what's this deal with security there?
I gotta check the application, Daryl, 37, but I'm sure there will be. But
is the CEO 75 persons or less? Because if it is 75 persons or less, they're not required by law.
This is Buddha Corp that he's talking about.
I just didn't know if that was in the stipulations is all, I guess.
Security personnel will be required per New York State regulations. So they'll be registered with New York State and there will be security guards. Yes, 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 Aaron.
Thank you.
Tally, you get to be the last one and then we'll move on.
Great. Thank you, Isidro and committee, for all your work. Before we vote, if you can just review what went from positive to negative and what the changes were. And then I had one request, and it might not be doable, but despite the fact that there are city laws regarding commercial waste, quite a few of these businesses are violating the requirement to recycle their recyclables. Is there any way that when you're reviewing applications, you can ask them what their sanitation plan is?
Something that we can bring up when we address the merchants. We should entertain that, Sally. And I'm sure that the new members will bring me to task to make sure that we ask that question because it's extremely important.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sally. The changes again, you're not voting on agenda item number 28, 31, 32, 34, 38, 39, and 40. And changes to number 6 and 7 should be correction to objections. And 31 is a withdrawal.
Right.
Those are the only.
And Angel, would you like to repeat what the changes that Barbara suggested? I think they're important that they noted as part of the resolution.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So
also, Chair, before I move, I'm sorry. We also voting on the correction on the agenda number 37, which is restaurant wine license, not
exactly
license. That is a typo and that should be corrected. Thank you, Chair.
I think that's what Barbara said. So thank you so much. And then we're gonna move on to do the voting tally, so we can vote on all these resolutions. Catherine or Nobles?
All right.
Catherine?
Yes.
Yes.
Just maybe it would be useful. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I got you. Fill me in. I always rely on you, Wayne.
Yeah,
I was just saying for the new people, it might be useful to remind them that if it's an objection, that means the committee is objecting to the award. So if you agree with not granting that license, then you want to vote in favor of the objection. Whereas if you disagree with the committee's decision and you think the applicant should get it, then you're voting against the objection.
Right.
Yeah, so because typically, many of the liquor licenses, it's like, if it's the committee's voting to grant it, that's more straightforward. But when it's a negative, it gets a little confusing.
Nice glasses, Wayne.
Same old glasses for like a year and a half.
Awesome. All right.
Let me throw a little shade on it. He hasn't been around long.
All right. Thanks, Wayne, for starting off. So also to context in terms of voting, right? So once I start the roll call, meaning that I start announcing names, there is no space for questions or discussions on any of the resolutions. If you get confused as to what number is what, like a technical question, you can ask that as long as it's related to the voting. And so as Wayne mentioned, right, we typically say no if you're an objection, yes if you're for it. You also, those are 2 votes. You can also abstain from voting on a resolution. You can also vote, or technically you're required, I should say technically, you're required to vote if you're in conflict. So for example, if a city or state agency or whatever the resolution's towards, even if it's a small business, right? If you work for them, if you have any financial interest, that is something that has to be disclosed. And that's just one of the categories. There are others. I recommend to definitely reach out to the parliamentarian or to the MBPO if you kind of want to take a closer read at the conflict of interest law. And so you would basically say,
I may not have heard what you said properly, but so there's this thing called abstention where you're not really voting in favor of it, you're not voting against it, but your vote is not in favor of it. So it's sort of a no vote. And then only if, as Catherine pointed out, you have a conflict of interest. And like Catherine said, if you make money off of it, or if you work for an agency or a company or whatever, or your mother does, or that sort of thing, then you are not allowed to vote. Okay, so you say you're not voting, and then you have to tell us what the conflict of interest is. And so that's what the not voting is about. And other than that, pretty much everyone is expected to vote on everything. You know, maybe in the Congress they can pass, you can't pass. You know, and then not voting is, again, this very special thing. Thank you.
Thank you. So, and also our voting is verbal.
1 second. You guys should also go over the three types of votes: yes, no, and abstention.
Yeah, I did. So yes, no, abstain, conflict, and no voting because of conflict. I'm sorry?
All right, let's do it.
Before I get there, I'm gonna explain. So if you have to step away, you got noise, whatever it is, you can pass, but you do have to vote this evening. So I will come back to you. Your vote has to be verbal. So you can't text it, email it, no Q&A. People have even been on speakerphone on the Zoom so we can get their vote secured. I'm going to call your name out loud. And what we're gonna start with are the letters. So this evening we have 2 letters. So there's A and B, and then we have numbers 1 through 37. And so when I call your name, please give me your votes for your letters first, and then
hang on a
give me
second. Let me hang on a second. Nobles, now that you read the minutes.
Sorry, Catherine, you can finish and I'll come at the end of what you're saying, because I just want to coordinate with you just to make sure we're tight on the record keeping. You're going to take the votes?
Wait, yeah, I got the spreadsheet with the votes.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure, because I was like, yo, I'm not ready for this yet. Okay, cool.
It's okay. I got it. So, but I shared it with you, so if you want to look at it and fill it in. So anyway, so I'm going to call your name. I'm going to call the letters. You're going to tell me how you're voting. I would prefer that you give me like your no's, your abstentions, or your conflict first. This is the first time I am doing vote tally for this number of resolutions. And then give me the numbers. Are there any questions on how voting takes place? And it doesn't have to be for new because we've been on break, so.
I only have 1 letter on my agenda.
Yeah, your I think your agenda is the old one. Yeah, it does not include Steve's resolution. That's probably what happened.
Yeah, Jim, there was an updated agenda sent when the resolution for our health and environment was forwarded.
And remind me what that resolution is about?
Vaccine.
That's the vaccine. That's the vaccination site. It would be Reso B.
Oh, very good. Thank you so much.
I have a quick question again about just objection and no objection. So if it's like, let's say bar whatever says resolution of objection, and we say yes, is it that they're getting the liquor license or they're not?
Sorry, you got on mute. It means that they're not. So if it says there's only 2 tonight, there's 6 and 7, and it says resolution in objection of. If you say yes, that means that you support that business not getting the liquor license, so that you're in agreement with the committee. So if you want them to get the business, so you got to do the opposite. You got to vote no on the no.
Right. The key there, as Catherine said, is you're either agreeing with the committee, which is the thing you're voting, or you're not agreeing with them. So if you agree with them that they shouldn't get the license, you vote yes. Thank you.
And there are several objections, not just 6 and 7.
Yeah, it's a tricky
one. So Catherine?
But it should also be understood that everything we do here is a recommendation to the State Liquor Authority, that nothing we do is binding. They because we may vote to deny or say we have an objection does not mean that they actually don't get their liquor license. It's only a recommendation.
Right. Also, because I'm doing this for the first time, I'm not doing it in the traditional order, so we're shaking it up.
We'll help
you
along.
Right.
We'll help
so
you
we're
along.
gonna start, and it's out of order. So Mary Anderson.
Wow, number 1. All right. Taking the plunge. No to 23 and no to 37. Yes to the rest.
23. And 27, you said?
No, 37.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Next up, Yosef is excused, so Richard Alman. Richard Alman. Oh, you're here.
Richard, you're with us?
This is the unmuted version of Richard. On the lettered resolutions, yes and yes. On the numbered resolutions, support committee recommendations.
Okay, so yes to all.
Catherine, would
All
you
right,
like me to
next
help
up.
you on this since it's out of order?
Yeah, if you
Do
can
want me-
type in.
You want me to like type in the no's? I can type in the
Yes,
no's because it
type
gets
in the
to
no's
get
and I got you
weird.
on the yes.
Okay, cool, cool.
Are you
All
guys
right, Glenn.
Google Docket? You guys do Google Docking it?
Yeah, we have a
Yeah, buddy.
spreadsheet
Welcome to the
here.
21st century.
Yeah, no, because I saw it. That's the way it should be done.
Okay, Glennis Aquino.
Yes to all.
Okay, thank you.
Hey,
All
Glenn.
right, Maria Luna.
Why am I getting now? Anyway, you have to be patient with me, okay? This is your first time, and this is my 38 year. Okay, on the board. On
We
the
have been
board.
patient with you
On
for
the
38
board.
years.
All right, so I'm voting. Do you want the no's votes first?
Yeah, put the no's first, please.
Yeah, let's do that.
Good. Number 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 22, 23, 24, 33, which is my age, 35, and 37.
I think if we added up all those numbers, it might just come to your age.
With you, Steve.
It's 38. So just to give these back to you, because I think I missed you there, Maria.
10, no,
I
10,
have, yep.
Okay, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 22, 23, 24, 33, 35, 37. And then I'm voting yes on the rest, including A and B.
Maria, you know, 15 is an objection.
15, wait a second. Okay, can I pass then and come back? No, let me see.
No, we'll just do yours now.
Yeah, no.
I know, but I'm voting yes. I mean, no. Oh, I'm voting no. Did I have it? No, 15, I have it.
15, you have no right now.
No. I'm voting against the recommendation of the committee.
So it's still the no, correct? I'm not looking at the resolution.
Number, which one, 15?
Yes,
15.
because you want me to vote yes or no? I'm voting
It's
no.
No. I was simply pointing out, Maria, that they're objecting to the license.
All right.
You're saying you're okay with it.
So
15, wait a second. 15 there's an objection, right?
If you want to vote.
That's the committee saying that they object to the, and I'm
And you're
saying I'm voting against the recommendation.
Right.
So you vote no.
Yeah.
All right.
So Maria, I'm gonna give it back to you. 1 second, Eleazar. Maria, I have 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 22, 23, 24, 33, 35, 37, correct?
Right.
All right, let's do it. Go for it, Catherine.
All right, ready? All right, awesome. Cindy Matos is not here, so next up is Francisco Lopez.
All right.
You're out of alphabetical order, by the way.
Doesn't matter.
I said that 3
Hey,
times.
she did say
I'm
this.
keeping
That's
it surprising tonight.
she said.
Keeping everybody on their
The
toes.
controversial ones.
Exactly.
Nobles, doing the nose first, okay?
Thank you, buddy. Let's do this.
1, 2, 4, 5, 15, 18, 19, 20, 26, 27, 29, 30, 36. That's it.
Bingo.
Yes to everything else.
Cool.
Next
you.
up is Ashley Fernandez.
You're adding that 36 column?
30, yes.
I got it.
Ash?
All right,
Yeah.
Ashley, go for it.
I'll keep it simple. Yes. Yes. So
You don't have to. Vote with your heart.
No, it's okay. I reviewed these. I'll stick with it.
All right. Thank you, Ashley. Next up is Joel Abreu.
All right, so I'll do my no's first. I'm doing no to B. I'm doing no to 1, 2. What's the other one? Uh, 29 and 30.
Thank you, Joel.
And yes to the rest.
Sounds good.
Oh, snap. Where did my screen go? All right, Domingo. Domingo, you ready?
We can
all
come
right,
back
it
and
looks
make
like
him yell.
we'll come back.
I'm not ready. I'm sorry.
All right, that's fine. We'll come back to.
right.
Nobles isn't ready. You think? Or
Yeah,
you?
no. I can do this.
Okay.
I'm saying no to 2, yes to the rest.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Mariella Graham. Mariella. All right, we'll move on. Come back to you. Simari.
Thank you. I'll say yes to all.
Okay. Thank you. Paradise is not here. Steve Simon.
Yeah, I just want to note that Nobles is so busy taking the votes here that his poor 2 little girls are running around with blue tongues.
They're eating so much candy. It's the bribes to keep the kid quiet, you know.
Is that what it is? All right. Well, I saw it on Facebook, so you can't deny it. Voting yes on A and B. Well, you want the no's first?
Yes, give me the no's.
No.
All right, 23 and 37. Now I can give you a bunch of abstentions. How's that?
Sounds good. You want the exemptions, Kat? I'll take the exemptions. I got it.
Yeah. 2, 15, 18, 19, 20.
Woo. 2, 15, 18, 19, 20. Okay.
And 35.
35. Got it.
Everything else is a yes.
Sweet.
Okay, awesome. Betty's next.
No to 23 and 37, yes to the rest.
23 and 27. Yes to the
No,
rest.
37, 23 and
37. Thank you. Perfect.
yes to the rest.
Very nice to hear from you. Nice to see you.
Okay, next, you ready, Tanya? Nobles?
Yep.
All right, Tanya, you're next.
Yes. So no to 35, 37, and 13. Yes to the rest.
All right. So that's no to 13, 35, and 37.
Yes.
Got it.
All right, next up, Wadis isn't here, so Sally. Sally, are you ready? All right,
Yes,
we're gonna.
sorry about that.
You're okay.
Unmute button. I mean, my unmute button. So Nobles, get ready.
Dude, you always come through with the heaters. You got the custom menu going on with you.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Okay, no to 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 33, 35, and 37.
Okay, so I have you as no for 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 20, 21, sorry, not 20, 21, not 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 33, 35, 37. Let me do it again just in case? You good?
No, I like that. Yes to the rest.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you, Sally. Next up is OC.
Okay, I hope you guys are gonna listen to the tape before you submit that. So,
Wise words from the old secretary. All right.
no to number 13, number 23, number 35, and number 37. Yes to the rest.
Okay, so one more time. It's 13. These are no's. 13, 23, 35, 37.
Correct. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, OC.
Okay. Is Jay? I don't think Jay Mazur's here.
I saw him earlier. Is he gone?
Oh, he is here. Sorry. Jay.
Usually someone has to give him a call.
Yeah. All right. So if somebody can nudge Jay, I appreciate it so he can unmute.
We'll put him on yellow.
I'll move on to Wendy Peña.
No to, I just missed the number. Hold on. No to 35. Yes to the rest.
Okay.
No to 35. Gotcha.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Next up is Daryl.
Daryl.
Thank you. Let's see. No to 37. I'll abstain on 2, 13, and 36. Yes to the rest.
Abstain on 2, 13. Did you say 26?
36.
36. Okay, cool. 36.
No on 37.
So just to confirm with you just one more time, because this is pretty complicated. Abstain on 2, 13, 36, no on 37.
Right. It's not as bad as Sally and Maria. I'm just saying.
No, definitely not. No, that's tame.
No offense.
You already said it, Daryl. You can't take that back.
All right. Next up is Mariella Lee. We're halfway there.
Keeping it simple. Yes to all.
All right.
I have Richard Allman twice. Yes, I did. Oops. All right. Miriam James, I don't think she's here. Next up is Michelle Lee, your first votes.
First time voting. Gotta save the first ball, first hit, right? For the record.
Hi.
I'm
Sorry
Michelle.
about that. My Zoom just
Here, let's come back to you.
Yeah.
Let's come back to you and see if your network
And
works
if you
out.
want to use maybe your phone audio to dial in, that could be an option too.
it's good.
If you want slow-mo.
I know none.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
Sorry,
Michelle.
can you hear me now?
I can
Yes,
definitely hear you
we
now.
got you.
Okay, you're good.
Okay, sorry, my internet is just not great.
Let's do it while it's hot.
So I am a no.
I think we
I'm
lost you.
on 13 and 37.
13 and 37, no.
Yes, and then I am abstain on 2 and abstain on 15.
2 and 15. Okay. Abstain on 2, no on 13, abstain on 15, and no on 37.
That's right. Thank you.
Cool.
Sorry about the technical difficulties.
All good.
All right. Next up is Aisha.
Sorry, I was on the wrong page to unmute. So I'm voting yes to all except for number 36 and number 30, on which I abstain.
Abstain on 36 and 30. Gotcha.
Oh, 37, 36 and 37.
36 and 37, not 30.
Yes.
So abstain on 36 and 37?
Yes.
Got it.
Okay, I'll fill in the yeses later. Bruce Robertson.
Hey, Bruce.
Hey, good night, everybody. Good evening.
Nice hearing from you. Good evening.
No to 2, 15, 23, 37, yes to the rest. Thank you.
3 and then 37. Okay, so Bruce, just to spit it back to you. I have you as a no on 2, 15, 23, 37.
You got it.
Cool.
Is, let me see. No, Genesis isn't here. Etta Santiago. Yes, Jesus.
Hi, no to 2 and 4, yes to the rest.
2 and 4, no. Thank you, Etta.
All right.
How was your travel, Etta?
Good, thank you.
I was gonna email you, said good travels, but it was already too late.
Thanks.
All right.
Next up is Angel Vasquez.
Yes to all.
Yes to all. All right, Isidro.
Yes to all.
Robin Cruz.
No to 36, yes to the rest.
No to 36. Got you, Robin.
Thank you.
Barbara.
No to 36, yes to the rest.
All right, Barbara, no to 36, yes to the rest.
Correct.
Okay. Leo Jimenez.
Abstain A and yes to the rest.
Abstain from A, yes to the rest. Gotcha.
Rosie's not here. Wayne Benjamin.
Okay, on A and B, yes. No on 13, 23, 33, 35, and 37. Yes to the rest.
You said no on, sorry, I think he heard, you said no on B?
No, I said.
He said he gave me the yeses for the letters.
Yes to A and B.
Yep.
No on 13, 23, 33, 35, and 37. Yes to the rest.
Elisa, may I change the vote?
Sure.
Who's this?
Yes to all.
Robin Cruz.
Sorry, who was this? Robin Cruz?
Yes.
Yes to all.
Yeah, so those of you who, they going, wait.
Wait,
Those of you,
We
yeah.
haven't finished yet? Okay.
You haven't finished
Wait
yet.
a second, Robin, you just changed your vote mid?
Yeah, he just changed it to yes to all.
Okay. Hey, folks, please don't try to change your vote mid, not to call you out here, Robin, but just wait for the end if you need to change your vote, please.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I just took it off of 36, so now you're a yes for 36.
told me.
Yes, Jay, I was waiting for you. I was going to come back to you.
We should strike the
you wanna
iron
put
while
in
the
your vote
iron's
too?
hot. If Jay's here, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it, Jay.
33, 35, 37, yes to the rest.
No to 33, 35, and 37. Yes to the rest, Jay?
Correct.
Thanks, Jay.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jay. Where were we? Wayne, we went. All right, Jim.
Hello. I'm gonna do my nose, and they won't even be in order. Wait, I can probably do them in order. No on 22. No, sorry, no on 23.
No on 23, right. Got it.
And on 24, and on 25. And on 33. And on 35. And yes to the rest.
So I have you down as no on 23, 24, 25, 33, and 35, right?
Right.
Awesome. Thanks, James.
Thank you.
Okay. I have this spreadsheet that's longer. Debbie, you're next.
Copy. No on 2, yes to the rest.
No on 2, yes to the rest. Thank you, Debbie.
Omar.
No to 13, 23, and 37. Yes to the rest.
No on 13, 23, and 37.
Correct.
Awesome. Thanks, Omar.
All right, Curtis is excused. Daniel's not here. All right, Gabriela.
I was gonna wave. I'm here. No, just kidding. Okay, so no, my no's are gonna be similar to Maria Luna. No, I'm just kidding. Maria, I love you. So my no's are 13, 23, 35, 36, 37, and yes to the rest. Thank you.
Okay, so Gabriela, I have you as no for 13, 23, 35, 36, and 37?
Correct.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Danielle Bonilla, first votes.
Daniel, screenshot it. You're an artist. We want to do an entire block with your first vote in the community Ward 12.
Hey, Catherine, so is Danielle Jetu not here?
No.
No, she's not.
Okay, cool. I'll put the red.
I just want to know that you guys can hear me, right?
We can hear you.
Cool. I just have a sucky computer, so.
All good, man. You're good. Uh-oh. Are you gone?
You muted yourself.
No. I'm not gone. I'm like hitting the space. I'm just checking one of the votes
Speak.
that I'm abstaining to.
Get closer to the mic, Danielle. Can barely hear you.
Sorry. I'll
There
talk
you go.
louder.
There you go.
Number 2, abstain. Yes to the rest.
Number 2, abstain. Yes to the rest. Thanks, Daniel. Liz is gone.
It's so
for today. Red. Okay.
Faye's gone.
No, Faye was here.
Faye's here, I think, right?
Yes,
She's
I
right there.
am.
Yep.
She's right there.
All right, go for it.
Whose turn is?
You can go for it, Faye. You got any no's?
Who are we waiting? Are you calling Faye?
Yeah, that's for you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was
All
really
good.
confused. Just looking at you, I got confused.
It's
Just
okay.
kidding.
It might be my smile.
That is beautiful.
Aw.
Anyway, yes, you know it is. So anyway, good evening, everyone. Yes,
Yeah,
for me, I'm going to abstain on 18 and 27. The rest is yes.
Okay, so abstain on 18 and 27.
Correct.
Did I miss something in there? Just those two?
Just these two, I'm abstain and the rest is yes.
Awesome. Thanks, Faye.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going back up to the mist. Domingo, you're up, my man.
Sorry about that. I actually want to commend the licensing committee. They did a great job, and I agree with Isidro about staying consistent with the rules on number 2. But I do have a question about number 20. Is that Tina the restaurant or the seafood spot? Licensing, anybody?
I'm sorry, what was that again, Domingo?
Number 20 is El Tina the restaurant or the seafood spot?
It's the restaurant.
And did they not show up? Was that what it was?
Let me check on the count.
Sorry, because I don't have access to the.
So let's move on from Domingo while Isidro checks on that, because there's people to go back to.
Yeah, so it's 9:30.
Mariela Graham.
Oh, here, me, Maria Luna.
No, Graham.
Mariela Graham.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think she's excused.
I saw. Oh, I might think I confused her with Mariela Lee.
All right, so let's make her red. All right, so we can go to Maria. You want to change your vote?
Yes, I'd like to change the vote for number 36 to a no.
Number 36 is no. Cool, thank you.
Okay.
And then Robin Cruz, you want to change your vote? Or did you just do that earlier?
Yes to all.
Yes
Yeah,
to
we got
all.
that.
Yep, perfect.
Okay, and then I have to cast my vote, so it's yes to all.
So we have everybody, right?
I'd like to change my vote on number 13.
Okay, 1 second. Let me just.
Let me just make sure that we have each and every board member, and then we
Not
can get back
Domingo,
to-
not Domingo, but we'll
We're
give
missing Domingo.
a little bit more
Okay,
time.
so Steve, so get Steve's vote change. And then
You're
we can
changing
get back
13 to a no, Steve?
To an abstention.
An abstention. Okay, cool. All set.
And my apologies, Noble. Yeah, so it was that the public notice wasn't posted. I'll vote no on that one and yes to the rest.
And which number was that one?
That's number 20, I believe.
Elena, 20.
Elena, yeah.
And yes to the rest?
Yes.
Cool. All right.
All right. Did we miss anybody?
I don't think so. I think we have everyone. Let me just double check.
Jonathan has not voted.
Oh, you're right.
Is he on this list?
He's not on my spreadsheet. Sorry, Jonathan. Are you here? Yes.
He might have been the double count for the other
Yes,
one.
I've been here.
Hello, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to say, I want to vote no on 35 and yes to the rest.
No on 3 and 5?
Yes, no, 35, I say.
35. No on 35, yes to the rest. Thank you,
my
friend. No problem. Thank you.
Jonathan, those gaming headsets are fire, my brother.
All right, and that leaves us with Elias's vote.
I'm sorry. I don't know
So
if
I'm gonna vote. Ready for my vote?
Wait, what was that, Isidro? You didn't vote, or?
No, I'm not sure if Jay Mason was called, or maybe I missed it.
Yeah, he did.
No, we got it. We got it.
Listen, we gotta get Jay's vote first, man. So I'm all yes and abstain on 37.
All right, abstaining from 37 for Eleazar. Cool, gotcha, man.
So we good?
Yep.
We're good. And OC, we will listen to this tape on the confirmation of all these, I promise you.
May I suggest, Catherine, that you ask if you didn't call somebody so they can chime in now? Just in case.
Sounds like
just
you're gonna give a secretary workshop.
I
We
just did
asked
that.
earlier, but again, anybody before Eliezer moves on. 3.
Going once,
2, 1.
going
Go ahead.
twice, going 3. Isidro, hooray, bro. Just crazy work. So moving on to our committee chairs reports. Mary Anderson.
Back to minutes.
Hello, everybody. Just wanted to say that we had 2 very successful meetings. The one we met in July, and we also, met in September. We've been talking about how the senior centers are doing with the reopening, and it seems that they're all doing pretty well and increasing the attendance slowly and opening up more programs. We also, interestingly enough, that the Star Senior Center, because remember before COVID, we were going to the senior centers for our meetings. We'd go to a different one each month and have our meetings there to engage the seniors in the community. The Star Senior Center has been able to, both in July and in September, tune in to our meetings through the Zoom link. They have a big screen, and about a dozen of their members have been attending the meeting and are liking it. We have translation through the center, and they're planning to continue to do that. And we're hoping that some of the other senior centers will eventually have the ability to do that, so that we can get the community more involved again. So that's a great thing. And beyond that, we're working on the budget. So, stay tuned. Thank you.
All right, you heard it from Mary herself. Stay tuned. More is coming. Faye, you up next. Thank you, Mary. Thank you very much.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, good evening, everyone. I would like to start my report briefly saying welcome again to all new members. Mr. Chairman, thank you for the few members, I think 3 members that we have new in our committee. I want to thank all of them. So I just wanted quickly to say that we have 2 presentations. one of the presentation we have from Wing Musical Charter School. And if you remember back in sometime early, I think it was in June, we had then, they were planning and moving, at least they were working on the idea of moving on 181st. So all that changed. So they now, they reported that they found a new location which is located in 528 West 162nd Street between Broadway and Amsterdam, where they are planning to have their school. I understood that this is going to be the location that will have a stage for capacity of 300 students. They looking into 40 years lease. And they also, this is going to be a building that is going to be renovated basically. So I understand that they expecting to move there, or the plan is going to be ready by summer 2023. More to come. I know that I couldn't, by the way, I couldn't give my minutes, but for the first time, so hopefully you will have it sometime this week. So I also wanted to report that we also have a second presentation, which is from the Every Voice Count, which is, I think it's a program in Columbia University, led by the founder and executive director of Every Voice Choirs. Her name is Dr. Nicole Baker. So she basically came to announce a program and saying that they have an open registration for folks who wanted to register their children and their wonderful, singing program, which is, as I say, it's available all at Columbia University. Aside from that, we also discussed our budget priority for fiscal year 23. I think it was interesting because there was some of the things that I have to explain the best I could to the new members. Of course, this is an ongoing conversation that, we continued in October. And Steve, I thank you for, attending the meeting and also, help us and enlighten the conversation, I should say. And very, very last, I just wanted to invite everyone. I sent the invitation. So this year we are having our annual Youth and Police Building Bridges. This year is something new. So we have a new thing, and the thing is communities in plural, united for peace and respect. And the goal of this is, as the title self-explained, we have an eyes in Harlem. So some of or a lot of our colleagues, so my colleagues in Harlem will be joining us, like Jackie Adams and other folks. And so hopefully I hope that you join us on October 2nd, 9 a.m. in front of our community board. Guys, these are my 2 cents. Like Maria Luna said, thank you very much. And I see you on Saturday. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Real quick thing,
much.
the first point you had said about 528 West 162nd Street, what school was that?
That's WHIM, which is the WHIM, W-H-I-M.
WHIM.
Musical Charter School.
Thank you.
You can always contact me after the meeting, and I text it. I may send it to you, whatever.
I think I'm good. We're good here. Thanks.
I appreciate it. And thank you
All
so
right.
much. Faith.
Thank you.
And from the Housing and Human Service Committee, we're going to have Maria Ali on behalf of our good friend, Darrell.
Yes. Thank you, Eleazar. Good evening, everyone. Hope you're all well. Just stepping in for Darrell this evening. So we started, we had a great meeting coming back after the break, like many other committees welcomed new members and kind of got to know each other a little bit. A lot of it also, of course, is kind of, the very, very much administrative things like getting ourselves prepared and ordered in regards to our note taking and so on. We did spend a good amount of time to talk about our strategic planning and some of the pressing issues that we're seeing in the community. Things about housing supply, inward rezoning, the homes guarantee, certificates of no harassment, as well as the Fort Washington Armory hearing. If there are other things that you think that, we need to be mindful of, just reach out and let us know. We also talked a little bit about the purview of the committee So in particular, thinking about what other agencies should be under the bylaws of what our committee works on. So that's obviously an ongoing conversation that we'll continue to have next month. And then, of course, we did have started the conversation on budget priorities. That's all from our end. Thanks.
Thank you, Mariel. Thank you. Very helpful. And Debbie Ababian from the Traffic and Transportation Committee.
Thank you, Eli. So we had two major items on the agenda this past month. The MTA presented on making the Dyckman 1 train station fully accessible. It is now only has an elevator in one direction. We're always pretty excited when we see accessibility improvements. I think as any traffic and transportation committee would be, but we particularly feel in Northern Manhattan with our topography, et cetera, very, very excited to see these improvements. It looks nice. There'll be an elevator. They'll use sort of build out a mezzanine level for the elevator to land in. There'll be some impacts on Fort George during construction, but I think they should have it wrapped up, I think, within a year once they get started. And the second thing was so an item that this board has already resolved on, namely the Dyckman Plaza on Dyckman Street between Broadway and Seaman Avenue. DOT did come back, however, with some tweaks to the design that had been presented before our break for the summer, that basically put the bike lane back on the north curb rather than the south curb, basically sharing the FDN and Y access lane. And they also presented, which something that they had introduced, turning Seaman Avenue in the one block that it's only going one way to be two-way. So I'll refer people to minutes to get to the details, and obviously people can check with me with any further questions.
Wow, that was a 2 minutes presentation. I think Sally has a question for you, Debbie.
Yes, Debbie, what's not reflected in the minutes, there was actually a fairly significant change in what they said at the last meeting versus what they'd said before. And the earlier two meetings, they said that once it becomes a plaza, there would be no private use. And in the latest meeting, they reversed that and they said that 80% of the seats in the plaza would be reserved for restaurant use between noon and 11 o'clock at night. That seems contrary to what a public plaza is. Some people were commenting that it's privatizing public land. So I just think we need to look at that more carefully. And that needs to be reflected in the minutes because there's a fair amount of community concern.
Got that.
Yeah, Sally, we'll make that change. That is true. We should have captured that.
Great. Thank you. Sally, as usual, great points. Deb, short, sweet, and to the point. Francisco Lopez, and then that'll be the end of our committee chairs report.
Hey, Parks and Cultural Affairs.
What was that?
Parks and Cultural Affairs.
Oh,
I'm taking it. I'm the vice chair, baby.
Yeah, I'm no, but I'm not Nostradamus. I wasn't told.
It's all good. I was waiting for last.
Got it. So Francisco,
go ahead, Nobles. Do you
No, go for it, Francis. I'd rather go last because I'm taking minutes. I'll just put it in after I'm done.
Got it. Okay, yeah, guys. So please refer to the minutes made by the wonderful Ashley Fernandez. Thank you so much for holding it down. I really do appreciate you, Queen. All right, so our meeting was obviously the budget. We spoke about that. We also honed in and focused on cannabis and cannabis legislation as it relates to business. We spoke in, especially me and Nobles and Ashley, and our new wonderful members that we got as well. Our focus is really about cannabis and how cannabis is going to affect our community, from licensing to public safety to aging, just across the board. It's going to affect the committee as a whole. And we spoke about the possibility of partnering up with some committees and doing like collaboration. So, because a lot of the stuff that deals with public safety also relates to business, things that happen with licensing relates to business. So I think it's important that when we talk about cannabis, that we all do it as a community effort, a board effort. And I think that would get a lot of our community residents involved as well. So that was the whole scope of our meeting in September. And also lastly, this is a little side note, but we wanted to, me personally, thinking about, because the unemployment ran out so fast, not fast, but it ran out in September, that I think a job fair is in order. There's a lot of businesses who are low on staff and they don't have a lot of people that are coming in looking for work. A lot of people don't know that there are businesses looking for work. So I think this is a good opportunity to bridge the two. And if there's any committee members or any staff that is willing to help out in this effort, I would appreciate that. And that's it. Thank you, guys.
All right, let's connect.
Cool.
Okay, guys. So
Parks and Cultural Affairs.
Go right ahead, bro.
Cool. Standing in for our chair, Elizabeth Ritter, Parks and Cultural Affairs. 3 quick things. Number 1, really big weekend coming up. The mayor's office is putting on Off-Broadway in the Boroughs Fest from September 29th to October 3rd. Tons of amazing acts are coming up to our area up here on Dyckman Street in Payson. So please get out there. I think Eleazar has the flyer. No, sorry, not Eleazar. District Manager Ebenezer has the flyer, but I'll send it to him just in case. Number 2, I would implore everyone, and Sally brought up this point earlier, please, 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 as you're thinking about your board committee business, always consider climate change, sustainability as now being a piece of our reviews of designs, resolutions. We haven't done enough there, especially as it gets into the budget process. We've got to think about our climate. We've got to do what we can from a local level. Lastly, there's some really cool renovations coming to Dyckman Farmhouse. You can refer to the minutes to check that out. But really important piece of history up there, and some really interesting things. Thanks a lot, Chair. Appreciate it.
What I mean, I think you have a question from Domingo, and also actually your off-Broadway people that High Bridge is also a park. So moving along.
Hey, Nobles.
Domingo.
I want to say I did a presentation in your committee in regards to a park that was pretty beat up. And I want to thank Steve Simon and Danny Hernandez from Parks, who did a great job and listened to a lot of the folks from the community and did a really good thing for youth in our community. So I wanted to thank them, but I also wanted to figure out, like maybe add it into agenda next month as to how our like the managers for Uptown, like we had a pretty good guy that did a lot of work and was pretty knowledgeable of the parks, and then they just get relocated without even telling the community anything. So I was just wondering what that process is, what's the mentality behind that, and does it really make sense that during a pandemic when everything's falling apart, you take one of the people that knows these parks like the back of his, so yeah.
I'm adding that to the minutes, and I will remember that for the second Tuesday of October.
All right.
And great. Eleazar, I hear you about High Bridge. Bud. Trust me.
I love Payson and Dyckman, but I also would have loved those kids from High Bridge to experience, what Broadway will look like.
They got a couple acre projects underneath that belt.
That's just my 2 cents. It's just my 2 cents.
Projects.
Maria, are we gonna go over the old business or new business, or this is something a comment related to Noble's presentation?
If you're speaking with me, I can do it right now.
Yeah, do it right now so that we can probably set the deadline of 10 o'clock.
No, that was going to be a little comment about the park department. They didn't do any pruning or checking on the trees, some of the branches that fell during the tornado that happened about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Okay, moving to the new business.
Hang on a sec. No, I have to bring you back because I think Tanya has a question on.
Yeah, I have old business. I have an old business item.
Okay, so then when we get to that, Jay, are you question related to Noble's presentation? I just need to finish that and then move on to all business. Can unmute yourself, Jay.
Okay, I think it's related to parks and cultural affairs.
Great.
And that is, I believe that next month the committee should consider passing a resolution congratulating Woody King, a Washington Heights resident, on getting a Tony Award for 60 years of working in the theater to create inclusive theater and promote the acting careers of dozens of prominent African-American actors, many of whom we all know that I don't want to bother to mention now, but I do think it's relevant to this community.
Thank you, Jay. I've
Thank
added
you,
that
Jay.
to the minutes, and I'm sure Chair Liz will be looking over them, but I will make sure to carry that.
All right, great. So that's it for your presentation. Extremely informative and very inclusive and getting everybody's input. I love that. Now we're going to old business. Maria,
Thank
your
you so
announcement,
much.
and then we're going to go to Dania, and then we're going to call it a day.
Thank you so much. I would like to thank Ebenezer and you, Elias, for sending out the notices of the 33rd the Police Community Council. We have to cancel the meeting on September 23rd due to the weather on that particular evening. When we canceled the meeting, we said that we were going to have the same meeting on the 30th, September 30th, which just happened to be this coming Thursday. Unfortunately, on the 33rd police prison, we lost one officer. He died on the same evening of our meeting on the 23rd. So we just found out that the family is informing us that the wake is going to be on September 30th. So we are canceling the meeting, the community council.
Maria, can you?
Yes.
There's a noise that's.
I don't know from where.
Okay,
I don't think it's her.
No, I'm just saying I don't want her to keep talking, then we can't hear her.
Okay, no, I'm sorry. Anyway, the wake of the officer, he was in our prison for 7 years. He left behind a 2-month-old baby and a 7-year-old boy. We are very sad because he was we saw for 7 years and he was only 30 years old. So now the next meeting is going to be in October, and we were going to be inviting people to attend the meeting because it's important, because we were going to introduce formally our new commander, Brian Natali, who is going to he's replacing Deputy Inspector Charlie Bello that was transferred to the 44th in the Bronx. So
Thanks, Maria.
thank you so much.
Thank you for the information.
Listening. Okay.
All right, thank you. Tanya?
Yes, and so I would like in the future probably that this item could be included in announcements and other things in the beginning of the meeting, because people are starting to leave and it's very important. As some of the new people might not be aware, but we had some issues on our board, including around sexual discrimination, gender discrimination, and some other things. There was an investigation by the Manhattan Borough President's Office that substantiated the complaints. And we, as a result as a board, we passed a resolution in February of 2020, right before the pandemic struck us and shut us down, that said we as a board were going to do certain things to address the issue, including some trainings. And so that would address some of these issues. And so What we, and again, this is a very important, so can I be respected to just get a little bit of time just to finish this, because I need to announce, something. And so in July we had, we're trying to do that. We're working on this resolution. In July, we had a training on July 20th. 16 out of 50 of our board members attended. Some of our new people attended. So thank you to those new board members who attended. What I was going to say in this statement is that we're going to be moving forward, trying to bring more trainings, specifically more targeted trainings that are specific to the specific needs of this board and some of the specific challenges that we're dealing with. And you will be getting notifications of things like that. There is a survey that I'm sent out to board members. If you could please try to respond to that, would be very, very helpful. And so if you get things about this effort, please know that in this day and age, it is very, very important that we reflect the diversity in our community, are able to have the cultural competence that we need to do our business internally in the board, but also to respond appropriately to our diverse community. And so I just wanted to announce that and say, please, we appreciate your continuing support in this. And I do hope that this will be in the beginning of the meeting and not relegated to the end, because I have put in this request. So hopefully the chair will allow this to be announced in the beginning.
Sure, we'll make that happen.
Hi.
Aisha, and then Catherine and then we'll.
I just wanted to make a comment in regards to, there's precedent that this board has set via a resolution that I introduced when I was chair of Housing and Human Services, related to work that is funneled to our board during our summer hiatus. We voted majority in favor of the other city agencies not funneling work to us in a vacuum when some people may not be available, some people may not want to rightfully show up because they're supposed to be on vacation, and yet we are generating our own work. Some of this, and I commend all members that are able to show up whenever possible to do the good work. I understand we are volunteers and it is important. However, that may not be the case for some of us. Some of us are juggling, other workloads and taking the opportunity when we do have breaks in order to live our lives. So it is very important that work that is of the utmost importance, such as some of these trainings, are not scheduled during our holiday breaks and hiatuses. It really puts some of us at a disadvantage and makes it seem as if we're not being team players, when in fact we're actually using our rightful time to have a break. Just wanted to put that on the record.
Thank you. Great point. Catherine, and then we're going to call the meeting for adjournment right after your last comment.
My comment's just letting everybody know that everything passed.
Okay, great. So thank you guys, and it's a great honor to be with you guys every single month. So we're going to get a motion to
adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Who seconds it?
Second.
Second it. Have a great night, guys.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, Lobos and Catherine. You killed it. Thank you for bringing us to the 21st century.
Minutes will be in your books in 30 seconds.
Night.
Lobos.
Bye, y'all.